My body lightweight speaks. What's the name of that song? What's the name of that song? What's the name of it? Speaks to me. Oh, hello. You already here? Hi, Carleto. Hi, Tartufo. Hi, Jaffer. Hello. Wait, body lightweight? I have no idea if this is the one that I meant. Oh, Under the Influence. This is the one, I think. Hello! Hi, Andrea. Hi, Ale. Hello. Hi, people. What's up with that? This is not... Oh, yeah. It's always the hype train that is having issues. I did not even finish Sapiens. It's been like ages that I said that I want to listen to, like, read to Sapiens. How is it going, people? Hello. How are y'all doing? Solo queue battle? Yes, we try. We try. Listen. Apparently, the Italian team did very good in the rivals, so... This is like, I feel like... I have no excuses, alright? I've been forced to be playing for Valorant on stream, alright? I tried. Hi, Namutente. Hi, Gambero. Hello. How did your morning go? Oh my god. Okay, let me. Who forced me? How? Jalford, guess one name. Jalford, one name. One name of a person that forced me. Oh, wait, I have to upload. Aria. No, it was not Aria. Wait, I need to. Because, like, fun fact. You know that I've been, like. Okay. You know that I've been, like, going to the gym lately. And a lot of you asked me, oh, how did you get rid of, like, the anxiety of going to the gym and blah, 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 and all of that. So I made a little video on how I did it. But then I realized the last clips were like without sound. Because I'm smart. So I had to record it again. Oh, the light is so bad here. I didn't even realize. Let me see. No, it's not too bad. It could be worse. Alright, I thought it was going to be horrible. Very scared about that. Oh, so this one also does not have... No kiss. But how did your Sunday morning go? Armita, hi! I saw you. Where is Ank? Do you want Ank to be playing too? Zeko, hi! How is it going? You want Ank to be playing Valorant again? Did you see him yesterday? It's struggling. I would love to show you, like, my... Arya, how are you doing, Arya? I haven't seen if you answered on Discord. Where's Patsoy? Who's Patsoy Kulo? Oh, hi! Hi, Muchi! How did it go? How was the stream? How was that stream? Let me see if you answered there. Let me see if you answered in the general chat. Yeah, you're down. Let's go. Alright, people. So then I guess it's not gonna be... It's gonna be... Duo queue. It's gonna be duo queue with Arya. Giving Friday? I mean, let's try. Prof, by the way, thank you so freaking much, Prof. Cioè, if you didn't know, Prof just got just got me, how is it called? Driving cars, yahoo! Mario Kart! Prof, thank you so much for getting that from the wish list. I appreciate you very much. Very, very much. I cannot wait to play Mario Kart. Who has Mario Kart right now on the Switch? Oh, you laugh watching Ank with the arrows? Oh, hell yeah. Well, Arya is... This is gonna be a different gameplay. Arya's actually good. What do you mean it wasn't just that? It wasn't just that? Are you freaking joking? Wait, what? Wait, what? Are you fucking joking? Prof, are you fucking joking? Prof, are you fucking joking? Someone just Prof just gifted the Go XLR. I don't know how to say that in English. Prof, what the fuck? What What the actual fuck? Thank you so freaking much for that. Chad, you know that I have this issue with the alerts. So, like, in order to, like, not kill you with the alerts, I have to have, like, another headset. Like, I have the alerts here, right? And I have all the things that you hear. Like, it's a mess. Thanks to that thing, it's gonna be so much better. Fuck. Prof, that helps so fucking much. So much. I appreciate you for it very much. What the fuck? Yeah, that's the point, Curiosity. That's so much. Prof, what the fuck? Ciao Pietro, come stai? Come va? Come sta procedendo? What the fuck? Thank you so much, Prof. What? I appreciate you so much. That's gonna improve so much the stream. Aria is good. Aria is... Shut up, Zeko. Don't be mean. Don't be mean. Aria, do you want to do some deathmatch in the meantime? Go, Aria. Ban them. Ban them. It's not gonna be 2 tomatoes of Valor. It's not gonna be that. But we're gonna be playing a little bit of... Wait, I haven't done the story. Wait, you see? You see? In order to hear that... Wait, we don't even have the alerts. Shit, we didn't even have the alerts. Wait. Yeah, because the other time we got botted and I hit them. Wait, let me... Wait, maybe it still hasn't got here yet. Oh, did we? There we go! Oh, Ang, do you wanna play? You see, right now here, I got... Oh my god, I'm still excited about the Go XLR. What the fuck? We can do a 3Q. Trio Q. Trio Q. Let's go for a trio Q. So, and you're obliged to talk in English while playing. Aria, is that okay for you? This is fixed. Open. Did I... Oh, no. Open. Okay, we got it. Okay, you know Volpescu, the best Twitch streamer? I don't know them. Fall Guys. Okay, so we are playing Valorant, right? Can you all confirm that we are gonna be playing Valorant? Go ahead, I'm finishing lunch. Okay, we can do some death matches in the meantime. I need to train a little. Solo queue, duo queue. I have friends. I have friends. Yeah, not Fall Guys, not Fall Guys, and not Among Us, right? I'm not right. Let me switch to the game one. I should be up there, so I should be less in the middle of everything. But then I need to share you the game. Okay, should work. All right, we have it. We have it. Okay. Fortnite? We are good in Fortnite too, but it's gonna be a Valorant today, if you don't mind. People, can you smile for a little? I'm gonna take a picture of y'all. Wait. Window projector. Say hi to Instagram. Yeah, don't say no. Don't say no. Say hi. Say hello. Dambos. Keep going. Dambos. Thank you. Take Instagram your mom. Hi, you say Richard, why are you subbed? And Mozart, thank you so freaking much for the 3 months, by the way. Thank you so much for that. Web Dev 101. By the way, who plays Valorant here? I heard that like in Italy, it's I don't know why, but it's very difficult for Valorant to work in Italy. I didn't understand why. I don't have a logo. I don't. I never like got to attach to one logo. You used to? You play? You used to play. I feel like Valorant is like not as cool. Like I don't know. Like it is known that in Italy, if you play Valorant, it's very difficult to succeed. Like that's why I don't know if Joy is in chat. He's an amazing one. He's grinding it. Too much camper? Valorant? What? You don't understand the game. Okay, I can try to explain how I understood it. I feel like I feel like COD is more difficult for me. Mostly because I don't see the people. You know? Like I generally do not see them. And how I spend COD most of the time is like I spend it all the time like trying to get new I spend it all the time to like loot, to find things, to find the best weapon. That by the way, I don't know which is the one. And then I die miserably. Yeah, they did Aristotle. Hi, Piecon. Hello. People. Valorant's too competitive. Competitive! Really? No, it's very far away from the game. Inviting. Oh, we also... Do you want to do a trio with Joy? For the first ones? Let me see. Joy is like a Italian streamer. He's really good. While we wait for Ank, we go for Joy. I don't want him to feel like the second choice, but I just realized he was live too, so why not? Right? Oh, he's playing with someone else. Never mind. Never mind. Oh, he's doing the... Okay, nothing. Never mind. Just play and ready. No, we go for like a little bit of a... Oh no, you know what, Arya? Is that okay if we go for... Actually... Let me join you on Discord. I'll call you on... I'll just call you directly. I think that it's easier. Where are you? There. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good.
You're good. How do you feel about doing an unrated? And then we do a death match, and then we do another, I don't know. And then
Whatever you want, I don't mind.
Okay, and then we can do ranked later if you want, maybe.
Yeah, sure.
Changing the tags. Do we have I don't think we have tag. What tags do we have? Okay. Sama? What is Sama? Let me see if I can change it. What is Sama? Do you know?
No.
All right. A beginner. What? Tell me what? How do you write beginner? 1 or 2 G's? Arya?
Yeah. With 2 N's.
Okay, with 1 G at 2 N's. Okay. Beginner, back sitting. Summer's like saying senpai? What? Otres, thank you so much for the prime. Thank you for the 2 months. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for it. Oh yeah, no, I got it. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, we are done with this. Okay.
Do you prefer senpai? Is it more clear now what summer means?
Yeah, I got it.
Hello, Rosella.
Hi, Ross. Bye. Ambo. Papyrus. Oh, Dark. Woo! I clicked on it by mistake. Dark, thank you so much for that. Dark, thank you so freaking much for it. Wait, hi Frank, get back there. Dark, thank you for how many months? 2 months. Thank you so much for it. Sorry for the mess. Sorry, Arya, for screaming. Let me mute myself so I don't kill your ears.
I'm used to it, don't worry.
Stuttering or stumbling, I can always hear him sort of muttering and mumbling. I associate him with the sound of falling sand.
Okay. Oriana, thank you so much. 15 months! Where? Huh? Has it been already 15 months, Oriana? What the heck? Thank you. Oriana, thank you so freaking much for that. I appreciate you. Akami, I don't think that was meant like beautiful. It was meant like yellow kind of way. You know? You're ready now, Ank. Okay. Okay. Oh, faccio la sub e se non fai okay, Carletta, I will not do the little weird dance if you sub. I'll not do it. Let's do it with Ank. I'm adding Ank to the call. You don't have to play. Yes, come play. Oh, people, that's a fresh one. Fresh out of the box. That was not a dance. That was not a dance, and you got tricked. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate you. You're smelling beautiful, Carletto. Smelling very good. Is Ank even joining? Ank? Wait. Ank? Ank? No. Do you want to join in the call? I don't know. Is strategy, just go for it. No, it's fine, it's fine.
Yo.
Oh, hello. Hi. Oh, Kami wants to
hello.
play too. Ank, do you want to play with Kami?
Sure, we love each other.
Yeah, I know. Kami, if you join us fast, yes. Wait. Just letting you know. Kami has a strong personality. Ank has a strong personality. Them together, it's a explosive combination. Explosive combination. Is Kami joining? No, Jalfor. That's shut up. That's not what I meant. That's so not what I meant. Kami, are you joining? I do play a Valorant a little bit. No, Kendrick, I really don't think so. Kami! Well, let's do that match in the like before that. So while we wait for Kami, is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. You are here. Where are you, Kami? You're not. In the game, not in the chat. Call you on Discord. Yes, I'll call you on Discord. Gotcha. It started like a solo queue. Did I added you? No, I should. Hi, Kami.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yup.
Yeah? Yes, we can. Oh, Booyah! Booyah, thank you so much for the prime. Welcome on the train. Welcome on the train. Booyah, thank you so freaking much for that. Who's the group noob? Kami. Kami is the group noob for sure. Kami is 100% the group noob. I don't have many good skins. I have just one, which is this one. This is the only one. Kami, why aren't you saying it in Discord? Wanna do that match? Oh, we do a deathmatch without you. I think that's what she said. Thank you people for the train, by the way. Yeah, okay.
Match found.
I wanna buy some skins.
Really? Which one do you... Have you looked at them?
Yeah, I have no idea how it works. I can see there are 2 different currencies and...
No, you just pay for them. That's easy. It's not like it's not like at all like in LoL where you can also
Warm
get
up.
them in weird ways, but it's just like you just pay for them. Music is a bit too loud, get you. I don't even have my glasses. How do you hear them though? How do you hear them talking? Tell me if the sounds are too loud. Wait, I need to remove this one. But I cannot wait for the Ego Accelera. Issues of like... Oh. Alia's internet died. Alia's internet just died. Like in this second. My voice is too loud, the game is too... Okay. Game is too loud. Game sound is very loud. What about now? We really need to go Acceler, for sure. What do I have? I have no sense of the game. Like, as soon as when I do the first game, I have no sense of the game at all. Ank is not live right now. Too low now? Oh my god.
I will find.
Is it too low now? Wait, let's get into the pro version.
Put down.
My god, my aim.
Breached.
Ah, someone got my kill there. By the way, like, if you've never played Valorant, it's not like too much of a difficult... Like, I don't think that it's too much of a difficult game to understand. My problem is like the aim. I whip so hard.
Can you hear me?
Yeah?
Yep.
I'm back.
Are you back also in the deathmatch?
Not sure. I'm just opening the game right now.
What? No, I've never tried CSGO. What is he doing with the goddamn... Mine. I also have to fix like sensibility. By the way, Ank... no, you're not seeing the stream.
Breached.
Yeah, I'm watching it.
Yeah, but you're also playing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the The thing that we were talking about, the fact that you can see sometimes like boxes that are the right level of the head.
Yeah, I'm watching your crosshair.
Ah, shit, that scared me. That scared me in real life.
Poison's gone.
Ah. No barks yet? Oh, what the?
Poison's gone.
Ah, shit. Ow. From the back? Like, I feel like once you get to understand how the maps goes, it's not that hard. The point is like, there's a lot of maps. And they keep, oh shit, oh shit. The problem for me is the aim. Ah! Or like tactics? How do you call those? You see? How much I'm whiffing?
Ten kills remaining.
Oh shit.
Dominating. Dominating.
Wait, you're back? Were you Fade, Arya?
Yeah.
What the fuck? You've been out for like so long and you're already like at 20 kills?
I'm following you, Julia.
You're what? You're following
I was
me?
following you. But you died.
5 kills remaining.
Yeah, that's why I got the Vandal, because it's better like when you're training your aim, because you don't care about killing too much as like training actually, or kill like I wanna kill them at the first shot if I can. I cannot, but still.
Goodbye.
1 kill remaining.
Oh shit, kill him.
Will. Oh, una kill in più di te, attenzione.
You got one more kill than me, Hank?
Yep.
Alright. You did? But that's the point. That's what I was telling you also yesterday. I feel like if you're also streaming, you play 1000 times worst. Because like you think about 1000 other things more.
Nah, don't worry about that. Nobody's judging you.
No, I know, but
Nobody's
it's
judging.
not about judging. It's more like about like the chat is right there, so like I just look at them, what is happening, if everything was alright.
Don't worry, don't worry. Let's do another.
The whole
Let's,
chat. Another deathmatch?
I think so.
Is coming back in the call?
See, isn't here.
Alright. Hi, Kami.
So Arya is the carry.
No.
Yeah.
Then we have study time doing the brains. Then there is me doing the fun guy.
And then there's Kami the bait. And the planter of the spike.
I'm the planter.
Yeah.
Professional planter.
Let's go for underrated. Is that alright?
Yep.
Underrated.
Unrated? Shit. Hank, why don't you put a card on your name?
A what?
A card on your name.
What's a card?
Wait, okay, go in collection. you see on the top left there is player card. Then click on it. Bottom left there is keep titles. Choose one of them.
I don't have titles.
Look, you don't
I
have.
equip titles. Yes. Oh, nice.
Yeah, choose
I
one.
have.
Choose one.
I
Let's see
have.
what kind of,
Is there like fat? No. What about guilty? Let's go.
Well, for guilty.
Okay. Oh, but wait. Here I can have like collection.
Yeah.
Oh, do you have any skin maybe? Because
No.
I have exactly 0 skins.
Yeah.
I can. Oh, nice.
Nice.
But then I
Nice.
can get like the Avalanche Vandal.
Yeah, but you have to pay.
Yes. Can I pay here?
Match
In the
found.
store.
Each pound. In the store where I was going. Leave the man in Pearl.
Have you ever played Pearl?
Oh.
I'm a pro player. I have played everything.
No, I hate this map.
Cami, is there a map that you don't hate? Cami, what is your favorite map on Valorant? Oh! Oh. Oh.
Something happened.
Yeah, someone dodged. What? You,
But
Cami?
never quit.
Cami! I know you don't like Pearl, but you didn't have to quit.
No, wait, I didn't. Something happened with my
Hey, oh, Pearl!
Yeah,
Shit.
yeah.
He's so
Cami, I
lost.
hate this mom.
Rage quitting already.
Never
That's
does.
toxic
swear.
behavior. Holy shit.
them. I
Imagine
swear.
being toxic.
Imagine
Oh my
being
God.
toxic.
How? So I wanna spend
I
money.
closed
Yeah.
the game by accident. I need to get in 1 second.
Okay, go for it.
So store, but then
Store?
like it's not by.
It's not, you don't have
weapon.
all of them. You have some of them. And you can choose only those. So they're doing it on purpose, like it's a marketing thing. Oh wait, Nikita, thank you so much for the 10 months. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate it.
There is like the Smite Odin, but I don't care. I want the Valo.
That's the point. It's like it's a marketing strategy, right? So like you're gonna go look in the this is actually a good one. Fuck. But you're gonna look at the store every day, and then the day that you will find the one that you really like, you're gonna be, oh shit, I have to buy it, you know? So
I see.
you know.
Okay, so maybe in the champions thingy. What? There is no weapon name, huh?
Huh?
How do
What?
I confirm? I don't want to confirm. I don't know what weapon this is. Come on. Ah, it's a phantom.
Oh god, thank you so much for the 2 months.
But I don't want the phantom. I want the other guy.
Vandal?
The Vandals, yes.
What do you mean? Do you want a skin for the Vandal?
Oh, yes.
Do you have it as an option in your store?
No.
So then you cannot.
I'm right now.
To what? Gonna call
This is
unacceptable.
inappropriate and unacceptable. But there is the okay, so how much money is 1000 Valo coins?
I think 10 euros. 1000 is like what, 10
What
euros?
the wait, so the bundle is
Oh,
60 euros?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I think, right? Chat, am I
It's
right?
insane.
Let me see.
So,
Yeah,
so
for like
much money.
5 euros, it's 475. 10 is 1000 and
That's
20 is 2000.
like the
yeah.
knife.
Yeah.
The knife
Yeah.
is 50 euros.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Imagine buying
Yeah.
skins.
Imagine buying skins.
Well, I don't really care about the like. Are there character skins?
No, it's just about the weapons.
Okay.
As I told
I mean,
you. Yeah.
maybe you can get one bundle one time in your life, but that's it. It's so expensive.
There's so many people
Holy
that
moly.
have like the higher you go with the rank, the more people you will find with the skins. And also like
Oh, that
it
makes
is
sense.
proven that if you play with a skin, you play better. proven.
Well, I don't think it's really about that, but I don't know if it's true in Valorant, but they queue you based on skins, so you feel like when you have the skin you're playing better, but it's actually that your enemies are stupider.
Booyah! Booyah, thank
You
you
have
so much.
worst enemies if you queue with a skin.
Booyah, thank you so much for the gifted one. I appreciate you. What the fuck? Thank you for your very first gifted one. Chat, say hello and wait, Booyah, you just arrived in here, didn't you? No. Wait, let me check on you. Let me do a background check. No, 7 July. Booyah, thank you so much for the
Match
first
found.
gifted one. I appreciate you very much.
Stupider, yeah. Fracture! Well, I just wanted a skin for my weapon, but now I have to go poor.
You
do that.
can invest on that.
Yeah, in Bitcoin.
No, you.
Is there any crypto guru in chat? Is there? I can see some crypto gurus, maybe.
Oh wait, I might have an idea. Open volume mixer. I'm gonna reduce the game volume. Oh my god, I cannot wait to have the Go XLR. Did you hear that? Like we're gonna Prof got the Go XLR.
Are you asking me?
In general, yeah, all of you.
I wrote
Yeah, I
to
saw
you
it.
that you got it.
It's so cool.
That's so cool. You wrote
Julie,
it?
what do you want to play?
Oh, true. Fracture. Cami, are you gonna actually be small? Okay. I can go. You can go.
Okay.
Yes, so I need some crypto guru to make 60 euros and
I'm
buy.
toxic. Did you know that my main is Viper?
Yeah, no. I'm just asking, like, do you know the smokes here?
Oh, we are against the big 69
No,
mana.
I never noticed.
Oh, exactly.
Gami has been playing Viper for a year.
Yeah, that's the point. Like, she
Just saying.
started when I started.
Imagine the poor Shadow Tino. But he's guilty too, as me. I like it.
Shadow Tino, I think that maybe he's Italian.
But anyway, yeah, with the Go XLR, when you have multiple sources, like in this case, it gets so much easier.
Oh my goodness, it's gonna be so.
But
good.
I'm not exactly sure that you can really have different volumes of alerts between the stream and your head.
What?
The thing of having different volumes, I don't think it's supported by the Go XLR. But anyway, you will be able to manage it properly.
Yeah, but I'll have alerts, things that can be heard in stream and things that cannot be heard in stream.
Yeah.
That's already a lot. And wait, I need to. I don't understand you, chat. Why do you want Ank's cam when you can have Kami and Arya's cam? That is so, like, I appreciate
Wait,
you.
how is cam written?
CAM.
Oh, I see.
Have you always written that with a K?
I don't think that's what you meant.
Oh.
Yeah, thank you very much, Arya.
Oh,
Imagine explaining sexual jokes. I see that you are a young fella.
Thank you, Arya, for being here for me.
No problem.
Raze has no
No problem.
Wait till turret strike when she's empty.
So I want a ghost skin and a thingy skin.
Well, you can get some free skins for like classic and a ghost and others. I think if you like, the more you use an how to
isn't there
explain?
like a battle pass thing?
No.
Jesus.
Yeah.
What?
Oh yeah,
But
there is
wait.
a battle pass.
Yeah.
I trust Arya.
Yeah.
So, I'm gonna go with Tino. Hi, Tino. Tino! My friendo! Such a funny guy.
Yeah, very. But we have a music. Let me remove. Yeah, how do you explain to Hank about like the agents and stuff?
I hear A
Come in.
from Sand. Oh, in our spawn.
Mamma mia,
Okay.
Tino.
It's fine.
Ami?
Spike planted.
What about in your head?
Sorry, I got distracted.
By what?
One enemy remaining.
Nice.
Oh, I'm playing in the office.
Let's go together, Hank.
Going. See the ball.
Qua.
I got
Nice.
you.
Good job.
Take this one. Take this one, Hank. Take that. Oh, okay. Ah.
I have survived more than
I have the skin. Baby, però devo comprare.
Hank, there is one of the 1000 of yesterday night. Ah, yeah, you know, yesterday, yeah.
Yeah.
Kami, people are asking if you are in a cave.
Kami!
Yes.
Yo, Kami!
I am.
Kami is in her basket. Why are we all here? Nice walk, Kami.
Enemy spotted B. There they are.
Here's someone A.
Behind the wall, there's Sage.
Why did she do that? Oh,
know, she
they're
blows
on A
herself.
site.
One enemy remaining. Spike down A.
Take that. Go back, Hank. Go back. Take the orb. Take in either you or Kami. Yeah.
E di Orbo. You know, chat, Orbo in Italian means blind. So it's quite...
I always see people putting their cam over the map, usually.
Reina.
I never
Yeah.
understood why. But
Because
they
we
always
get stream sniped.
For ghosting.
Oh, because we get stream sniped, so then I'm not gonna do it. Yeah,
well, I
there you go.
mean, yeah, we are reaching the pro player level, but I don't think you're gonna be with Snapponi, as they call
you
them.
never
Getting
know.
stream sniped in unrated is a bit
Yeah.
Isolate them
cringe.
and kill them.
No one cares of this friendly. You think so? No, I'm joking. Yeah.
Stay down. Enemy spotted A.
You're right. The point is like I think that my problem is like whenever we play, even when we play unrated, I still wanna win. You know. Coming! I'm coming!
I'm flanking, eh?
Good job.
I don't understand how they didn't kill me.
One enemy
Go in,
remaining.
go in, go in. Let's go.
Nice.
Let's go. Yeah, of course. I feel like stream sniping always is very cringe, but
Are you? Did you see that? Did you?
Hank is a 2-0, by the way, the only one that didn't die, just saying.
Immortal.
haha.
I'm doing all of this so my friend Giorgio Power gets me fanatic.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. I can see you there. In.
There they are.
Oh, whoa! I pressed X by mistake. I pressed my ulti by mistake. Shit.
No chance.
2 kills.
Oh, Soon!
They are
thank you
B,
so
by the
much.
way.
Soon, thank you so much for the prime. Appreciate you. What the fuck? It would have been a good ulti if I did it before, and if I swear I didn't mean to. I swear.
Reloading.
go so. Oh shit, Sultano, you missed that.
Spike planted.
Third, right there.
One enemy remaining.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Player
Oh
standing.
my god.
All right.
Nice.
Oh my god.
Good
He's
one.
so nuts. He's so nuts.
Tino did super smurf.
Oh, we're having.
Uh,
Was that important?
The enemy only looks composed.
Okay.
Their hearts still.
It lagged for a second there, didn't it?
Yeah, he was very laggy.
Still
Even in your
lagging.
stream. Tino is carrying, guys.
yeah.
Still lagging.
He's doing.
Sorry
the
for
whole,
name. He didn't see what I just did.
Is it still lagging, chat?
No.
Breathe deep.
Should be fine.
Okay. Oh, they are all B.
I was
All
not
B.
paying attention.
Feeling sight.
All B.
I mean, nice. Don't get nice.
Enemy spotted B.
One enemy remaining.
Gone.
Spike down B.
Where is he? Below? Hello?
Yeah, she was under. She was under.
I had it.
It's.
Sorry. I mean, I feel like Valorant sometimes is a horror game.
Yeah.
Jump scare stream.
Why did you jump scare? What happened?
I got scared because I didn't expect someone to be right there, and I. It's fine. Nothing. It's fine. Oof. No, Julala, I'm not hearing. I could pay more attention for sure.
Found them.
Oh, they are all B again.
Just killed it.
Enemy spotted B.
Enemy spotted B.
One enemy remaining.
Minchia, Tino è veramente forte.
Spike planted.
Tino is so strong. So strong.
Oh my god, I used my ulti for nothing. Let's go.
Fine.
Was that important?
We're stumping them for sure. Oh. Did I mute you? You die. Breathe when it's over.
What?
Oh! GG.
Defenders
It's.
win.
We move
It's.
GG easy. Too easy. Too easy, chat. Too easy. Too easy. Too easy.
Tino.
Zeko, I see you online. Do you want to play?
Yeah, Zeko. We can do F5.
Can we rank all together
Yes, we could.
as a team?
Yes, we could. Oh, but oh wait, but Zeko doesn't have the game. Do you? Oh, you downloaded again the game?
Hi G. Do you know what does sushi say to sushi bean? Wasabi?
Wait.
By waving?
I invited him.
Oh,
If you wanna really spice it up.
I mean, exactly what I was thinking about, Andrea. Exactly what I was thinking about. Oh, did you get the new skin, Zeko? Wait, is Zeko in this call? Oh, you added him too. Okay, so we went from solo queue to duo queue to trio queue to quadra queue and penta queue?
Pentakill!
Hello.
No Vandal skin, I'm so sad.
Yeah, but yeah, it is not gonna be a competitive match.
Ça va.
Ça va et toi?
J'ai bien.
Are you learning French, Camille?
It's always the same conversation.
Je parlais français très bien, Guy.
C'est pas vrai? C'est pas vrai? Qu'est-ce que tu peux dire en
Dis-moi.
français?
Oui, oui.
Je m'appelle Camilla.
Ah ouais?
Match foul.
Baguette.
Tu as combien? Hein? How do you say ears? Because
Oreille.
no, ears. Like, how
entendre.
old are you? Because like, I'm always
Like
scared
quel
when I
âge?
say
Quel âge
Anne.
as-tu?
Oh,
Anne.
because no, like I've been 2 years in France. I'm always scared of saying that because like I know that if I say it in the wrong way, it sounds like I have. I'm saying how many like that I've been in France for 2 anuses. But how do you say it? My problem is like how do you pronounce it?
J'ai passé 2 ans en France.
2 ans.
Yes.
C'est pas Anne.
Année sinon.
Une Anne, an Anne,
Yes. Une année.
une année. So it's feminine.
Une année.
Une année. Une année.
It's like Japan. It's so easy. Une année. 2 années. 14.
It's du.
Du?
And then-
Deux.
I can only say in French
come it's
something like 82.
Oh, 99.
99. Imagine having a language that has sums in numbers. How do you feel about that?
That's Chinese.
Scobie, how do you feel about that? That you have to count in order to say numbers.
I don't know.
Do you mean I don't?
Are you?
mean, that's
do
how
you
he
feel like
learns, so
French
he's used
people
to it.
are math? Like are more intelligent in math because of that?
Oh. Do you feel more intelligent in math, Zeko?
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
Oh yeah, okay.
80.
Oh, my eye is so icky.
You do realize, G, that your category is Fall Guys, right?
No.
Yep, it is.
What?
Yeah, you really have an issue with Fall Guys. I don't. I mean, is there like a Fall Guys doctor or something that can check you out?
Oh, we still have also the wrong. It's because like this one does not update with like
Reloading.
She's new, chat.
beginner,
Don't worry, she's new to the streaming background. And stuff.
backseating. Thank you. Give me more tags, chat. Give me ideas for tags. What else do we have? We have
French.
furry.
Furry. What? Right, pro player, friends with Giorgio Power. Go. Maybe add the baguette if possible.
Caves.
Yes, case
Caves
is
for
great.
Kami.
So fun.
PhD, maybe.
Ah, okay. Oh, it's gonna be on A. Kami, do you see this line? Oh, Kami did not see this line. Oh, what the? Circumcision. Air for the area.
Planted.
My ult's not ready.
Take your time, Ang. Take your time. It's not like they're
Open them
all.
Oh
It's
my
nice.
god, one is flowers. Whatever that is, I think. Yoru.
Ang, did you know that if you run without the weapon in your hands, you run faster? You have your E?
Last player standing.
One is to your right, directly.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
Nice try, nice try.
You had your E, Ang.
Yeah.
Guys, the plan is. Never mind. Just keep blowing them up.
I really don't know this map. I think.
We played.
Yeah, I like one time. I don't feel confident.
Okay.
Ah, there's the Perola Cafe place. Lovely. It's a nice one. Together. I think they're gonna go B, by the way.
I think so. Kami, I don't want to be mean, but that's a very useless wall. Yeah, they're B. Like, actually, it's better for me because I cannot... Can you put it down, please? Cami, can you put your wall down, please? Cami, can you please put your wall down, please?
It's down, it's down, it's down.
You have to talk in the cave.
Carbogi. That's not
Oh, it was the enemy one? Oh, shit. Where was yours then?
Spike planted.
Jesus.
Last player
Oh my
standing.
God. 104 on your.
You have your arrow?
Revealing area.
Oh.
Yeah, that's not gonna be helpful. I don't wanna
coming?
take one kill. Okay.
I don't want
The
to take
whole community reached me. I told you that was gonna be beat, by the way.
It is
Yeah.
mercy.
Strategy.
Look at Zeko
Who's
carrying.
playing the music?
It's here.
Okay, he has 3 K.
There's
There.
what is it?
Don't be jealous of that. What is this skin? What the
Look,
The
my
best one.
arrows, it's a new meta that is not already in... don't worry.
Okay.
Here.
Are they A? Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's go, let's go.
Go, go, go.
the rain.
I forgot that I was
That's
using neon
Take some
for a
time.
second.
I'm
Oh my
doing the
God.
back thing.
Someone is flower. Beyond you.
Opponent
One enemy remaining. Spike down A.
Where was it?
Don't know.
Go, go, go.
Oh,
It's here in the corner. It's almost dead. Standing.
Let's go, Kami!
Spike spotted.
Good one.
I got an assist. La,
We
la,
will
la, la.
claw our way back up
Ah,
to the light.
finally, my Vandal without a skin yet.
Ashkelon, you're so mean! Ashkelon asking me to die first before so then you can they can see your POV.
If
permission
you
to
want,
ban.
I can stream it to you and you put like a little corner. They just wanna see my arrows, you know? Since they are so innovative.
Oh my eyes itch.
Wall A.
I think it's A again.
I'm out of here.
I'm gonna. Oh! I have
Your TP is in the back.
Yoru's here. Oh shit. They're all here. Or
Nice try.
Nice.
Spike down B.
oh shit. They saw me.
Oh, okay.
Oh my.
Landing B.
Oh, let me show you
Spike
this
planted.
POV.
Here.
Arrow? Rank arrow? Up.
Coming ahead.
One enemy remaining.
Oh no.
Last player
Oh my
standing.
God.
Clutch.
And if I can suggest you something with your arrows, don't put the bounces.
The
Don't
bounce.
Don't put it.
My power does not.
So it's easier. Then later on you can put the bounces when you understand more the logic.
I could have killed the guy, but I felt so
Yeah.
much pressure.
Well, from what? Can we just do a better economy? Stop asking for money.
I'm very bad with them. I use the one that
Are we
manage my
buying
economy.
or?
No.
No,
No.
no, stay.
Saving.
Like I'm doing a small buy.
Yeah, same.
Gotta go.
How for next?
A.
I'm out of here.
I'm blind.
Gotta go.
Where is your?
Go, Kami, go. Careful.
Shields is very low.
Stay there, stay there, stay there. I'm trying to find two different spots.
Spike planted.
I'm out of here.
Oh,
player
at least I
standing.
killed one.
Save.
No, 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 it's fine. He couldn't save.
Just save.
Kami, he had only a ghost. What would I have he saved? Now he can save. Yeah, stay there, Hank. Stay. Hank, stay. Yes, get them. Ah,
Well, at least I have a weapon.
yeah.
I know what must be done.
Easy. Oh!
We can see a faster Hank's mind after he starts running. You agree? What? What do you mean? Oh, Hank, hold your weapon and press Y.
What?
If you press Y, you can see your weapon.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta go.
Ah, they're doing it again. They're back on B. I told you Hank is not too bad. Hank is not that bad.
Spike planted.
He's... Oh, I died from the fucking turret.
From what? From the turret?
Last player standing.
Oh, one more.
You don't have time. You don't
Time.
No time. You're gonna find it in front of you? Kimothy, you're having ads with your sub, you should not.
Under their transgression.
Bobo! I'm doing good, what about you?
Okay, now I'm gonna carry. Because I've been holding back.
Yeah.
'cause I didn't wanna
Yeah, we
take
noticed,
the-
we noticed.
Yeah.
You got
But
this.
now
Thank you for understanding and letting us play.
Sure, and
I
then...
mean, can you all like
Track them down.
like this?
Careful up there.
There.
Nice. Perfect.
There they are.
Yeah, that might be moving.
Can you drop your wall? Thank you.
Oh shit, not staying there.
Can't use it.
Careful.
Oh,
In case
100.
someone
100 on your room. Just to you. Nice.
Woo!
Spike planted.
One day.
Nice.
One enemy remaining.
That's three. Shortcut.
Defuse?
Good defuse.
Last
Oh.
player standing.
72 woman. Yes! Let's go, Arya. Go, stick it! Let's go! Run away! Do you have a weapon? Oh! Get a weapon!
Nice.
Let's go.
Yourself.
Oh my
Told you.
god.
Fight once
So, thank you, Hank. Thank you. You're so good.
Can you keep me by minutes?
Which
can
one?
give you this.
Okay. Ask. I can buy you. I don't need
Fine.
you money.
I don't think they're gonna
It
come
was for
B again.
free. It was Kobe's gun. Actually, no, it was the enemy's gun that they saw it from school.
I can jiggle pick with my knife?
Time to blow up that
Really?
Eurolico.
But then if I see them, I die.
They're here. They're here.
Go, go, go! I'm out of here!
But I'll be from behind you, Kami, maybe. Because your root piece.
Gotta go!
He's dead, he's dead.
Nice.
They're planting?
Yeah, stop the plant.
Yeah. Backside. Okay.
Watch out!
One is stuck there.
Take this!
Where? Okay.
It didn't bounce.
One enemy remaining.
In the corner.
Spike is here.
Flawless.
Let's go!
Nice.
Now this is worth celebrating.
Let's go.
What's
I won't be going B anymore. I
I'm
mean,
not tired.
nobody's there.
Are you?
I need to jump near a corner while knifing? What? What? is my head that big to sit in a Viper weapon?
No, that's not lame, that's smart.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Oh, true. And since
Like, here's the...
oh, did I? Okay.
Again.
And
Yeah.
since you started actually playing,
You should run. I'm out of
we're doing so good. So thank you, Eng.
No, planting.
Go away.
Spike planted.
Oh my god.
Oh, this is a cool skin.
My heart.
Go, go, go!
Oh, your dad joke.
Last player standing.
Oh, that's a bad wall. That's not what I wanted.
There's one here.
We turn to dust.
Let's go, Arya! Oh no.
Oh my.
Let's go.
I know you're here.
Oh, shit.
Poor Aria.
Shit.
Actual carry.
Oh, Buon Uomo! Buon Uomo, thank you so much for the prime. Appreciate you. People, we're already around 12 out of 15? What the
like,
fuck?
The distance between A
Thank
and
you
B
so
is
much.
so much. Like,
Thank
they
you
are
so much for that. Jonathan, I'll tell Enk. Enk, there is Jonathan live. It's just someone that was there yesterday and is here today, so tell them they did good.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, good idea coming here. That's nice.
Who's next?
Just a smart? Buon Uomo, you're a
Might be.
smart? What?
Pushing mid.
A Viper wall. And smokes.
Oh, the guy with the ult.
Go, go, go! Spotted me.
They are still mid. G.
Yeah, coming from here.
The planting.
Oh shit! I thought it was one of us.
Spike down
Oh my god.
Last player standing.
Shut up.
Spike planted.
Oh shit!
Next try.
Nice try. Yes, then that is not
Well,
fighting.
the Omen started planning in the Viper. What the?
Are we saving? No.
I
Let's force it.
I don't.
Yeah, you should force now and.
Okay, okay.
Nobody speaks to me. Nobody-
And I'm all alone.
I'm here.
Go, go, go!
Blind.
I'm out of here!
On site.
Gotta go!
I must record this feeling.
Reloading.
I don't know what's wrong with my eye, but it's so... I need to scratch it.
Enemy spotted.
Oh my god.
One enemy
90.
remaining.
Okay.
Spike down A.
It was a main.
Yes,
Asmund, it's
people.
just one time. I never game on this channel. I'm so good at screaming. Thank you.
30
You win
seconds
these.
left.
No.
Ami, can you watch a main? Or maybe till we work come from the back.
Oh.
10 seconds left. Last player standing.
Yeah.
Let's stay alive.
Woo!
Nice. Good job.
Let's go. Stop the.
Ooh, you paid some money, I can see.
Wait, that joke.
Last round in the
Let me
half.
try it again.
Oh, I have to ult.
There we go. Yeah. Okay, that jokes don't want to work. I'm sorry.
Wait, that's the last round now?
Yeah. So
No.
buy as much as you can. Shit, I don't have money.
Yeah, same.
Ask Camille to buy you.
I can buy you.
I can buy you a bull.
I know I can.
Yeah, buy.
Let's do a colletta.
Oh, I actually saw a new dad joke that I have to die. They're gonna be
Oh,
B.
yeah, wait.
I am the hunter.
I'm out of here. Welcome to my world.
Nice.
Oh shit! I should have walked
One
and kept
enemy
shooting.
remaining.
I have
It's
the
only-
spike.
Oh wait, yeah.
Viper is in here.
Yeah, she will have to move.
Let's go!
Reloading.
I don't like
Switching
this map.
sides.
It's weird.
The fight the men.
It's my time to shine.
Yes, Cami, let's go plant.
Let's go.
Actually, Cami, don't hate
Go B.
me, but
Press tab.
would it be okay if I planted for this time? So like, I rushed there with my utilities and I planted directly. Then you can stay around it and you can like keep an eye on it.
Can we reach the bots? Can we reach the bots? I wanna go to the bots.
I think that only if you go into the creative mode of it. There's also an opera here.
There. Gotta go.
Come
Ami, can you all
Gotta go.
Yeah.
like this?
Yeah.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, let's go.
Wait.
Very in the back.
Cami, I'm gonna do my utility and you run with me in there. Let's go.
Who goes that
Plant
spike?
it.
Oh, they're already pushing behind you.
Reloading. Out of charges. Barrier
Good
created.
one.
Omen is here.
Here.
Coming.
Oh,
Last
come
player
on.
standing.
Taken out.
Oh shit, 26. I was the last one. Shit.
The maple, it's so good, that guy. Holy.
And can you please start carrying again? We need you.
I did one kill.
Yeah, no, I'm saying like I know that this is not your best. You usually
You
what?
need me to carry more. Yes.
What the fuck?
What are you?
I
Crimson!
need the spike.
You gone cray? What? Crimson, what the fuck?
Oh,
Can I
man.
have it for one round? I'll give it to you next round.
Crimson, thank you so freaking much for that. What?
Where are we going?
10! Man, that's a lot of money.
Are you forcing? Kami, don't. Fine.
What? Good gracious! Chad, if you received the gifted one, and you're not even subbed! Crimson, thank you so freaking much. Great.
Yeah, they push.
I'm out of here. Healing you.
Revealing area.
Reloading.
Oh shit.
Our spike's down.
Spike down B.
He might have been.
Flanker. I'll keep an eye on the flanker.
Enemy spotted.
Do you want to rotate, maybe? Oh, whip close so hard.
Last player standing.
Oh,
Crimson, thank you so freaking much again for that. I appreciate you. And oh, yeah. Oh.
Yep.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's okay, it's okay.
Yep.
Yeah, we were saving, right, Kami?
Yeah, it is worth it.
That's what happened when you don't give me the spike. Now I'm seeing.
Hi, Losker. Hello.
Yeah,
How are you
that's
doing?
why that happened.
We reached the sub goal of the day.
Reloading.
Told you didn't want to do the Valorant stream. Look at that.
Isolate and exterminate.
Go, go, go!
Kami, I'm gonna use my wall again, my utility again. Wall up? No, wall up, Kami.
Reloading. Reloading.
Are you?
I
Wait for her
Stop
wall to
pushing
go down.
behind us already, like, wait to push them.
Yeah, it's fine.
For you.
Wait, and well, your wall up, Kami.
it's up. It's up.
It's up. Okay. Okay.
Coming through.
It's down now.
There.
Wait to plant.
Smart move.
Oh my god, I hate these spikes.
Madonna, non ti carico.
Last player
I'm out of
standing.
here. Here we go.
Oh
Bye.
shit. Oh, Arya,
Yeah.
there is your fan club in chat.
Huh?
There is a fan club for you.
Why?
I don't know. The Nix said, "Hello, this is Arya fan club from Greece."
Oh my god.
Is that your friend?
Oh no.
Who is that?
It's your friend.
Yeah.
Hi, Arya.
Do you want Arya's cam?
Oh my god.
Do you want Arya's cam?
Gör Rosille.
Are you insulting them?
Klissa Margit.
Are you insulting them?
No.
Gotta go.
Welcome to my
Where did they ulti?
Just go rotate.
Did she ulti here? Yeah.
think
Yeah.
so.
Go. You go. I'm getting the orb.
Oh, she's dead. She's dead.
Go,
She's
go,
dead.
go.
Okay.
Continue.
Oh.
Continue here. Continue here.
You continue here? Okay. Wait for us, Kami. Wait. Don't go alone.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting.
Okay. Again, I'll do my thingy. Wait.
Watch out.
Wait.
Take this. Coming through.
Go.
I want to
Go,
come
go.
from main.
Oh, okay. There are two people down.
Someone is behind me.
Behind you? I'm behind you.
No, here.
I'm out of here.
Following you.
Gotta go.
One enemy
Oh, let's
remaining.
go.
Inside?
There.
Last player standing.
136.
Very low.
So low.
Yeah!
Excuse me.
Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm dying a lot, chat. This map, I don't understand it. I don't have the hands, so I have to use the brains. But I cannot use the brains if I don't know the map. This is my conundrum, you see?
Yeah. Chad, do you want everyone's cam? Like everyone's small cams? Everyone is very interested.
Why?
I got you. These
Right
are the
here.
scores. Yeah? No. I'll
show
put them
them.
like
Lintik kayo.
one here over my cam. So we are. No, we're not gonna have Ank's big cam.
This.
Shit! I did it by mistake.
I'm out of here.
Woo!
Scanning ahead.
Oh! 103 euro? Okay, I can work on that.
Get out of here.
How do I...
There's still one guy there.
Wait. I got shown it.
Our spike carrier is dead.
Behind?
Spike down B.
Let's get him.
Omen
Come
killed.
on.
Wait.
Last player standing.
Oh, I'm back?
Last player
Oh no!
standing.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
Nice revive.
Okay,
you.
I only have like 78 grenades left. Hopefully that's
They are
enough.
always pushing mid like Omen and
Okay.
Viper. We can punish them.
Yeah.
If you want to turn on your cam,
Like,
I
they
can...
always flank us.
if you want to put your
Yeah.
cams, I think that I can put you on the stream. If whoever wants, not pushing, not anything. Okay, egg, of course.
go.
Wait, what is the egg? What the fuck is that?
It's my cam.
I didn't even buy.
Yeah, me neither.
It's fine. I'm just gonna get them, and then I'll go with my ulti.
Be careful.
Oh,
I can't.
we have to control mid, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You're not a cat, Kirsten. Who said you're a
Enemy
cat?
spotted
Who,
A.
101 a
Kirsten,
moment.
who told you are a cat? What happened? Okay. Okay, those are this is us.
Last player standing.
I have the
Flawless.
You need to press shift. Oh my god.
Match point.
Already.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, I'm gonna ultimate.
And do you
Mid.
know what shift is
Ultimate.
for?
No, he doesn't.
Yeah.
What?
He does not actually, and I'm not even joking. He does not.
Oh my god.
What?
Oh, come in.
Explain to me.
You remember, Anka? Like shift is to not
Bye,
make
Jeff.
sounds.
Bye.
Shift is not to make sounds, and control is to crouch.
Yeah.
Nice ultimate.
Who's next?
We're gonna have the there comes in another game, chat. I'm sorry.
Go, go, go! Watch out!
I mean, careful. Okay.
I'm out of here.
You
Ah, powerless.
Killed it from A.
Go, go, go!
I don't know. Killjoy is also an A player.
Don't get in my way.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I walled it.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
I'm gonna heal you.
Thank you.
Reloading. Here.
Oh shit! Sorry.
Oh my. Crazy.
Scanning ahead.
Hit them.
One enemy remaining. Last player standing.
Yeah, the Giga chat is supposed to be Ang, but he
Doesn't
that's
time.
his cam right now.
Nice.
I could have killed her, but I didn't.
What will it be?
Ang,
this
is that
time?
actually your
Have
cam?
any patterns emerged?
Like,
Yeah.
did you? Are you? Like, you know what
It's me.
cam it is? Okay.
Hey,
Oh, okay.
no.
Okay. All right.
You can cut it in the corners.
Yeah, but I can also not have it.
Julie, can you? Bye.
Quick feet, quick.
Yeah, sorry, you're right. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by. Okay. Let's not push the smoke.
I'm out of here.
Let me see how it's A.
you gonna?
Gotta go.
Yeah, mid.
Go, go, go.
At least one.
You can take the orb here.
I have the ulti already.
Nice.
What? No, 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 no! You kill me! You kill me! Like,
I can do damage to you?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Ah, something new I discovered.
Shit.
Gotta go.
Oh, finish.
I'm out of here.
Shit.
Healing.
Thank you.
One bar.
He's very low, he's very low.
Here we go.
Last
Oh.
player standing.
Not good. Oh.
One enemy
Hey,
remaining.
Bennett! Thank you so much for the prime. I appreciate you. Sorry, I didn't hear that. Oh, Bennett! I appreciate you for the 2 months. I recognize you from Instagram. Thank you.
Nice.
Let's go.
You see my ulti.
Get ready. I go fast.
What is that weapon?
Look at this toxicity.
Oh, Ank, you're doing so good.
Can you buy me someone?
I can't.
Thank you.
No, I'm cool.
Thank you.
Go,
Got
go,
you.
go.
So kind. Unlike others.
I could not.
There.
They need
Call
to
my
go
out.
down.
Grenade.
There's someone there.
I'm out of here.
Is that smoke?
Yeah.
Shit.
Or spikes
Here,
down.
here, oh my
Gotta go.
god.
Spike down B.
Wipe.
Nice.
I know you care. I know you care. I'm into my bed.
Go, go, go.
Slip to me. Your body language speaks to me.
Go, go, go.
Enemy spotted.
Take this. This way.
Nice.
One enemy remaining.
Woo!
Grenade.
30 seconds left.
Oh, 80.
Top.
Last
No,
player
she's not.
standing.
She's not top. She's lower ground. Let's go!
Nice. Oh my god.
Let's go! I didn't even notice we were doing like their match point.
Stand tall. We are Valorant. We are fighters.
Siko,
Um,
can you buy me?
Need a
Zeko,
drop.
can you buy me?
You can.
I don't have. No,
Yeah,
but-
you have.
no, I don't have the money for Phantom. Kami
I
has.
can't buy for both.
I can't
No, just-
buy you.
Can I get a drop? Thanks.
Okay,
Salamat, thanks.
thank you.
As one.
Oh my.
Yeah, come on, let's go, Krim.
Gotta go.
Oh, okay, he's not pushing
Welcome
anymore.
to my world.
Who's next?
I'm out of here.
Oh, this.
A Viper ult on A.
You're is close
No.
to me.
Oh!
Scared.
Go.
On your spawn.
Spawn.
Why are you shooting, Kami? Are you shooting at me?
Revealing area.
Kami, can you come with us?
Watch out.
You got the spike.
Viper is ailing.
Here. Coming through. Go, go, go. For you. Bomb buddy out.
My bot is following someone. Oh, ailing. 2 people.
I have one here.
Powerless.
No.
Back up.
Behind. Right.
There.
Right, left.
One enemy remaining.
Let's go!
Oh, we won. so stressed.
Look at me.
Bro, you
I
need to
know
see that I
I am
plant
by
spike.
your
No,
side.
Thank you,
I can buy
Zeko.
one.
I can buy for someone.
I'm selling the spike.
Ank, I can buy for you.
60 euro.
Ank, did you rage quit it?
That's how you buy this.
Need a drop.
I got you.
Right here.
Ank, are you
I'll find
okay?
them.
You you small there?
Here.
Gotta go.
Main. Where's smoke though? Don't push the smoke, Hank. Okay, you're crazy.
I'm out of here.
The shift Ank. Is that a Sag, Ank?
Bye bye.
The Sag,
Go,
Ank.
go,
Wait, I'm coming from mid.
go, go, go.
Ooh,
One is
I
backside.
oh yeah, one is back there.
I'm out of here.
Okay.
Oh shit!
30 seconds left. Spike down B.
Ah, someone is pushing already mid. Attention.
One enemy remaining.
Let's go on. Yes, good arrow.
10 seconds
Come,
left.
run, come, 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 run,
Go, go, go,
come, run.
Run, run,
Press
plan,
forward,
plan,
press
plan,
forward,
plan.
press forward.
Behind Kami, behind Kami. Okay,
Nice.
ooh, let's go, let's go. Let's go. Oof. Ank, are you okay?
Try to get through.
Ank, are you okay?
I'm just muted, yes.
Yes, you were very muted. We thought you were like very sad.
No, I'm... look, hi. I'm focused because we can come back.
Okay. Okay.
I'm actually doing kills.
You were not crying. Okay.
Gotta go.
Scanning ahead.
Let's wait for smokes to go down.
I think B was kind of clear.
Oh,
Nice shifting, guys.
Take this.
okay, she's backside.
Okay.
Go, go.
I have two on B.
Behind the corridor.
You should
Okay, we can go, we
run.
can go. Okay, we can go, we can go. Wait.
I think that
I'm...
went in the C. Are we rotating B?
There will be mid.
There are two there. There are two there.
But maybe we can hit A.
we can still go
We
A
need to
from
push
here.
some.
We can go A from here.
30
A from
seconds
here.
left.
We don't have much time.
Go, 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 go. Oh shit!
Spike
I got it.
down
I
A.
got
I'm rushing the site. Help!
I'm here. Oh, wait, wait. Okay, okay.
Smart
Go,
move.
go, plan, plan.
Cover, cover, cover! Shit, 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 shit! The tension.
Spike planted. Watch out. I'm out of here.
Oh, I'm having a problem with the wheel of my.
È troppo forte sto tizio, dai, come on.
Oh, so one is...
You can do
Wallet,
it.
wallet. Wall something.
Not him, not him.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
that's
I
fine.
was believing.
I got distracted.
Oh my god, the tension.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
No,
But
Oh
I think we
shit.
are ready for rank.
Defenders
Rank.
win.
I know you love it.
I hate this map. It's so narrow.
I mean, we could play rank, but
The question is, should we?
yeah. That was really good though. Like that was really close.
No, we brought it back.
Like for real, for real. Let's talk about focus. What we were focused. That was a good a good result.
And the Euro dropped 38 kills. Just saying.
Exactly. Exactly. 30 kills. Not 38. That Yoru did drop 38, yeah.
Yeah, third. Yeah.
Shit. Oh,
I did 4 kills. Let's go.
Yeah, that was good.
Very nice.
Do you wanna go for one more?
Sure.
I'm down.
I can play just one more.
Okay. Okay.
I'm gonna go beer back.
Okay. I'm searching for the game though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be quick.
She's going to give me.
And I think it's better if you just put your cam if you wanna put something.
Match found.
I'm having my own little stream in your cam.
Okay. That's. You're
Oh,
gonna have.
I know this map. Yes, let's go.
Let's go.
I can actually do stuff now.
Okay.
It's a mini stream, yeah.
The mini stream in there.
It's an abusive, not paying the permessi. Let me place the camera better. Yeah, like that.
Oh, like yeah. You could. Do you want to put also your chat there?
No, I don't need that. I have your chat, which is supporting me.
Speak to me. I'm just gonna go with
Sage.
Sage, right? Yeah.
It's called the arrow cam, chat. You have a little our arrow cam there, and you can see my arrows because I'm reshaping the meta basically.
Okay. All right. I know what you did to me.
Do you want
What?
to play Sage, Julia?
No, it's fine. You can play it.
I don't mind.
What do you want to play?
No, just in case you want to play.
No. That's fine.
Julia's
Have
better
no
as.
idea how hardly
What?
I forgot the name. You're better as Reina.
Am I? And
Yeah, because you want to push. You always want to push.
There. Elevators. Like he's doing the gags. Even if he in his mini stream, he's doing his own gags.
I'm doing mini gags, of course. That's what I do. That's my
Oh, I didn't
job.
had lunch. Okay, I need to get something to snack very fast. Wait, I'm gonna get myself like something super quick to snack.
Yo, chat. Hi. So, how do you feel about when she's back? You all should be saying like, do more Valorant and gaming streams. They are very nice. Yes, I
No,
love
we
them.
don't want that. We want regular normal streams.
I think it could be a gamer.
I like the gaming streams.
Yeah, you see?
Ah, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
No,
you say
I will speak.
You say
With
that
such a
because,
community, you
right
should be
now you're
playing
on
more
holidays.
games.
But then you say that because you're on holidays. But when you like do the thesis while
I'm not on holidays right now.
you are.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
What is this one? What
Sono
the
tutti
fuck?
qua. Tutti e 5.
You don't like this one?
No, I don't like this
There are
one.
Why not?
eight.
They're all A, all 5.
I'm blind.
Shit, I hate chamber. Thank you.
Omen's very low
Spike
short.
down A.
Zed's also short. In the corner.
Reloading.
Ooh.
Spike is down.
Okay, they're both short.
Here.
Sure, or whatever it's called.
She's
And they're
still.
both lit.
Do we have Spike? No, right? Okay.
Yeah, I
You
do.
have it.
Oh yeah?
1 second. Yeah.
Okay.
One enemy remaining.
Nice.
Healing you.
Your body that way. Specs.
She was short, so she.
Yeah.
Oh, she's right there.
Wait. Wait for
Is there
me.
one looking at Spike? Look at Spike.
30 seconds
Yeah,
left.
but if he dies, I won't.
Chad, you actually like watching me playing games? You're gonna make me cry.
First round.
You have no idea.
Level heads
See, I'm a
and
good
we're home.
teammate.
I never bring games because every time that I do, like views gets very low, and I think, okay, just
Bye.
people are not interested in
Yeah,
this. It's
we
like
won.
I have so much fun. Oh my god, you're gonna make me so cry. Stop it. Okay.
I'm all
Maybe.
alone.
Maybe.
I saw a good arrow. I think maybe this one.
Do I hold garage? Oh, I did not buy. I'm sorry.
Enemy spotted.
Omen is window.
Gotcha.
Mid.
Okay, that's all that.
They are pushing mid.
Yeah.
No, they're coming C. Coming C. They're on C.
Yeah, but I
I need help. I need
The
help. I need help.
Omen.
Help.
Coming.
Help.
Someone
Omen
is
double door.
garage.
Oh no.
I'm so dead.
One enemy remaining.
Nice.
Oh my god, backside.
Not games. Valorant. Or
Wait. Just I
Quest'arma fa cagare al cazzo.
Don't move when you shoot.
Nice.
let's go.
Oh my god, I really like that skin.
I'm never buying
Dad,
this weapon again.
I have something to
Holy
do.
shit.
I will have to cover my cam because there is weird people out there in the world, and you have to stay safe.
Oh, this is the
I'm gonna eat my
No,
snack.
I'm gonna use this shit.
So for these things, yeah.
Goldie, can you have your... Oh, are we buying?
no, I'm not gonna buy.
Okay, can I have
I
your
won't
ghost?
spend. I'm not gonna buy.
Can I have your... Oh, you're good.
And it's better if you sell
have
your
it.
bundle.
Spectre.
That's why I'm playing short.
Give me your ghost, you know.
Okay, you have
No.
seen them.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, I have Sage here.
Cutting their vision.
Oh shit. No, Kami, this was. Are they going A? Yeah. Oh, I missed Neon. I should have kept Neon, by the way. Someone keeps an eye on B because they might be going B also.
Still inside.
Enemy spotted A.
Spike down A.
Thank you.
Enemy spotted A.
Sorry, that hurt me in real life. Wait, let me. I'll move right here to eat my banana. Oh no.
30 seconds left. Last player standing.
I'm not gonna eat my banana. It's a.
Spike planted. One enemy remaining.
Not happening. Oh. What's wrong with it? It's. Wait, where? Oh my Discord just crashed. Sounds fair. Eat it, chat. No, chat. I'm not gonna eat. That's horrible. Who eats that? Do you eat the the banana when it's dark? Like, I think that no. Discord is still crashed. Yes, Discord is still out. You're right. Shut up. Real for real? He does?
They tire. We don't.
What? Ah. Let's go.
Grenade.
What about Africa's children? I'm gonna do like pancakes with that. I'm not saying that I'm gonna throw it away just because it's a little bit like. Wait, I cannot. Okay. Where are them?
For you. Reloading. 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 Get grounded. Enemy spotted.
There.
A.
He's on top of boxes. Oh shit!
One enemy remaining.
Yeah, I know that it's sweeter, but it's like
They will not.
I know that's very right, but oh my god. Because Solana can go on an overheal? No?
My quiver is never full.
This time you're judging me? What the fuck? What the fuck? I know I crashed, Tank. I don't let me just join back.
Gun here.
Okay. Hello? Hello? Hi? Hello? No. No arrow cam, I'm sorry. Oh, I did not buy the weapon. I'm gonna go behind Cammy. I know. I'm gonna go behind Cammy and just wait for her weapon. There we go. Oh!
You want to play? Let's play.
Bomb buddy out. You will not kill my
Cammy is, unfortunately. She's trying though.
Spike planted.
Anonymous, thank you for the
Last
beaties.
player
What's
standing.
up? What are these beaties for? Yes, good. Little faster. Okay, let me close Discord and just open it again. First. Because I feel very lonely. Almost arrow. Almost arrow. I am hydrating. Crimson, thank you again for the biddy. Oh, for the good luck. Thank you. Oh, I think that I can.
Julia, bye.
I can hear you. I can hear you now.
Nice.
I think it's gonna be A.
Say. Yeah.
They're on site.
I'm blind.
Planting. Come on, come.
Hold off.
Woo!
Planted.
Enemy spotted A.
Cutting their vision.
Reloading. Careful.
They will cover. See nothing.
Jungle.
Woo! Hell.
Imposter kill.
One enemy remaining.
Third.
Hank, why did you blur your face?
Last player standing.
Oh, I missed it. No. And did you blur your face?
I'm the last thing they'll see before they die.
I was focusing on the game,
Sorry.
but you talked to me.
Sorry, my fault.
Ah.
Using witness protection. Hey, Bacon, it actually worked though. Yeah, I'm just gonna push it here.
Sage, protect the others.
Doy.
So 1B, 1A is for me.
Nice.
Spike down A.
Oh. Oh, that was a smart move, Chamber. Shit.
One
Can I get
enemy
a
remaining.
you? Oh.
They are in the fucking Poppe.
The pop?
Pop.
Get it.
It's very low.
Satchel out.
You don't see.
Take spawn, yeah.
Not here.
Spike planted.
See?
One second.
Okay. I have a hair in my mouth.
Thank you.
Fascinating. I must record this feeling.
But wait for the others. Let's push together.
Yeah.
Don't get in my way.
There
Let's
you
go.
go. Pop is dead
I
finally.
waste my own.
Kami. Chichi coming. Actually, I have a very important question for all of you.
Oh my.
Do you eat the banana if it's too ripe?
Of course it is.
If it's very ripe? Like
Banana is.
No.
I still
The
have. You
banana
don't. You
needs
know
to
I
be
still have the ones in the fridge.
Are you joking? Chat.
No.
When I went to Turin, I brought with me some bananas because I didn't want them to go bad, and they were already brown, like entirely from the outside.
If you want, I can eat one after this game.
You have one brown spot. You don't eat that banana.
You want to play? Let's
Oh.
play.
Oh, he's probably still long.
I had one.
They usually go.
Come here.
GG.
Thank you very much for covering me up.
Here comes the party.
Where is she?
Spike down mid.
I know.
Oh, she's on site.
Sorry, I was going all the way around. I couldn't see her.
Oh my god, behind me.
Behind me.
With a fucking like.
In sight.
I'm watching the window.
One enemy remaining.
He
Oh,
playing
it's here, it's here, it's here, it's here.
I'm coming. This son of a brisk. Let's go, Hank! Let's go!
No one.
Pop
Good
is
job!
now destroyed.
Good job!
What do you say, drone?
Why my
to
cam is
stretch your wings.
disabled?
Oh!
You are.
Oh no, now it's okay. Now it's working. Now it's working. Sorry, sorry.
It was.
Hank Poppe Slayer. Shit!
You know my cam is disabled in Discord.
Because it's loading, keeps loading. I think that it's my. Oh, now it's working.
I'll find them.
Now you're back. No worries. Everyone can see you. Don't raise the wall. Don't raise the wall. Yeah.
Down.
No, it's fine. No, it's fine. Keep it up. Keep it up.
in my direction.
Help.
Coming. Oh shit! I couldn't find an
I'm
exit.
rotating around. Oh, Sage is dead.
Oh my god.
Still in sight.
One more, one more.
There's two there. Omen and.
He's on the right side, so
Yeah.
he's stuck.
Oh! He's not on the left.
Also,
There is one.
oh wow, wow, wow!
No, he's on the other
Left
side.
and right.
Oh, there
Left
is
and
two.
right.
Like,
Let's go, Hank. You got them. Here.
Pop, it's Pop! It's the fucking Pop again!
Wait for them coming down.
Oh, poor JJ. You don't know what Poppe means. Poor. Okay, he's gonna be behind you.
where are you going?
Coming. They're here.
Where are you going,
That was-
Cami?
Go. Left, coming.
Because I think.
Good
No,
to see,
no,
good.
they
No, no, no. They're there.
30 seconds left.
Yeah, on me.
Go, Kami. They're on him, like on him, both of them, Kami.
One enemy remaining.
Go.
Last player standing.
Good, Kami.
C.
Ooh.
You don't know
Well
what
done.
Poppe is? It's okay. You don't know. Yeah.
They don't have a
Just Google it.
Google it, but in the
Not around your parents though.
no, not around your wife either, and not and use the anonymous.
You can Google Pop around your wife.
Yeah, but use the anonymous thing on your computer.
Yes. It's not that bad.
Kami, if you wait 1 second to raise it, then it will be better, so we can have like a peek on where they are.
Yeah, true.
Give it a second.
Oh, one is window.
Oh, they are.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
A,
where is
they
he?
are A, they are A.
Sage.
Look
I
at
got
that.
Sage is low in front of us. If you could have hit the bullet, you would be dead.
Enemy spotted A.
Now pushing.
Enemy spotted.
What? Omen was right there! You didn't even see him?
Sage is here.
I'm not pushing that
Come
smoke.
on.
Where's Egg? Oh, dead.
Oh, he's in there.
Spike
Yeah,
planted.
of course it is.
Here.
You have so many
Last player
smokes.
standing.
Sorry for screaming.
Oh,
Kami, are you using Phantom?
Can you give me some chocolate?
They will die.
It's not really chocolate, it's like protein bar.
Afraid.
Why you are by using phone?
Open! Open big! There we go. Kami, if you're like, try not to, like, I know you already know, but try for real to not aim. Like, remove it from your mouse.
Yeah, I know, I can't.
What do you mean you can't? You can like remove, like you can just
Yeah.
lock it to
Again,
another.
again, A.
I need it.
Got
No,
A
you don't. You
again.
never need it.
Oh, what the fuck?
He lost us already.
Yeah, we need to have more vision.
Oh, that
Yeah.
slow is.
They're all A, all A, all A, all A. I rotate.
One enemy
Behind them.
remaining.
I'm 1 HP.
Spike down A.
Is there? What is this one?
Blocking them.
Yay!
Is
He panic.
Gun.
Last round before the switch.
Let's go.
We cannot keep our good.
Vibing. I speak 5 languages. It would be lovely if you wrote in one of those.
Can someone buy me?
I am right now.
Can you buy me?
Sounds like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Bye.
Oh, am I? Yeah, I do skip
my legs.
I do skip stuff in real life because I truly believe that it works
Oh,
better.
I should have bought a gun too.
Get out of my way.
I
They
did not
don't
get a
seem to be
shield.
See.
Prepare for hellfire.
Oh no.
I think they are C again.
They are pushing.
Okay. It's a gun.
Okay, this should work as a
Oh my god, Tenaris.
shield. More shield.
Oh, double doors.
One enemy remaining.
Oh, let's go. Better. I don't like all.
Switching
Good
sides.
job.
Surrounded by minha família. We won't lose.
I cannot speak German.
This is my time to shine.
Traumatized.
Where do you wanna go?
Wherever. Like, I swear, there's people that are like shocked in chat that I am good in the games. Like, but look, no, I'm gonna speak in English.
Where are we going?
No, I.
Oh, we can go from. Oh, we can go from C. No, wait, no. Chamber will be C, and he's the only one that has long.
I like A, but
We can go A.
no, that's cool. They are going B anyway.
Okay.
Enemy spotted.
Almost window.
Don't push the
Garage.
smoke. Kami, don't smoke. Don't push the smoke.
Grenade.
Wanna go A? Oh no, don't come A. Don't come A. Never mind.
Cutting their vision.
I think we can try B still.
Yeah,
Someone's
keep going,
pushing
keep
from
going.
mid.
Yeah, someone is me.
Enemy down.
We have
Our
to.
spikes down.
Oh, come on.
Ah!
Spike
There's a
down.
fighting.
C.
Go, Arya. Yes, a shotgun
Oh,
though.
B here.
Yeah,
I'm
why do I go?
sorry, I don't speak
Yeah,
German.
like this.
Spotted.
I know how to say
Classic Poppe
Kartoffeln
move.
Preiser
Classic Poppe
in
move.
German.
Around.
Last player
Oh,
standing.
yeah.
Just shooting.
Behind you, Arya, behind you.
Everywhere.
Stay in
I
this
can't
room.
see any.
Stay in this rooms.
It's fine. One is in garage. One,
Stay
two are in
this
garage.
rooms. Don't move.
30 seconds left.
One more is on your left. There we go. Let's go. Two in garage.
Keep Poppe.
Oh my god, that was so good.
Nice try, nice try.
It was
Papa is popping off.
The enemy only looks composed. Their hearts tell a different story.
Don't buy.
No, why not? We should.
We lost.
Since-
No.
Oh, we
no,
lost.
no.
Save.
I thought we won. Sorry,
And
my,
not even-
in my brain. In my brain, I
I
didn't
think
so
A
good.
is more doable for
Oh,
us.
you know that I need the shields.
Yeah, but you
so
need
I
money for the
can't.
next round. You
Oh.
don't need it
I
round.
will have the money. I will have
Sell it.
Cami.
Come on. How?
Can we
That's not how
trust
the game
trust
works.
Arya? Trust Arya.
Please.
No,
Please.
I trust my
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
instincts.
Okay. Instance. Cami, what rank are you?
Don't be toxic too. Don't be toxic.
Spotted C.
Oh, I'm
Okay.
pushing A alone.
Yeah,
I can. I trust my instinct.
That is on me.
that was in your instinct.
Oh no, 110.
Oh, one more. What the fuck? One more.
There's jet here. Oh shit, there's on site. Wait, did you go A in the end?
Yeah.
Yeah, that always happens.
And
You think you were with someone and someone's gonna train you. And
Oh,
Spike
the
planted.
cheating. Run, Cami, run!
I'm gonna get the rotation now.
Why am I here? Thank you so much for that. Why am I here?
Let's go,
Thank you
Cami.
so much for the 8 months. Appreciate
Oh shit,
you.
he's gonna do the
Thank you so much for that. Nice try, Cami.
I sure already had.
Someone getting a
Sky,
spike.
I try to protect this one. I cannot do anything.
None of my stuff has malfunctioned.
Zeko, we had the same idea.
Sick. Please. This fight can be toxic, sick. No, I'm good planting this fight. No! Hate you. Give this pick.
Are we going A?
We can try from garage.
Yeah.
Omen is
Actually,
there.
Enemy
yeah,
spotted
and
C.
he will probably have a freaking shotgun.
Reloading.
Revealing area.
Oh,
Is there? Let's go.
Enemy spotted C.
he's behind the box.
Still inside.
Bomb buddy up.
Oh my god, why do you take this?
What do you mean?
You never revive me anyway.
What the?
C.
I
Last
killed
player
Poppe.
standing.
Perfect.
That's all I meant to do.
Oh my god, with really
Really?
the pistol.
Report the Viper.
Yes, please.
Get this spike next round, please.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Good luck.
Crimson, thank you so much for you subscribed. I'll give you a big sniff. Thank you so much for that, Crim. I genuinely thank you so much for that. Crim, I thank you also for the 10 up before. I appreciate you for real.
Are we buying?
I have enough next round.
Yeah, I'm doing a small buy.
Oh yeah, me too.
Maybe Ank, you don't want to buy. You want to go for something smaller and shield.
Arya.
You want
No.
to play? Let's play.
Oh, don't pick, don't pick.
Don't.
I'm gonna follow Cam.
Shit, he's gonna be in garage.
Poppe is in garage.
Ah, one in B. Shit. Yeah. God, I swear, I am better than this. I am better than this. Who's Max? Is that a Valorant streamer?
Let's rush.
You wanna have Ank's POV? Oh,
No,
Ank
coming.
is dead.
Okay.
Never mind. What is split play?
She's low, she's low. 132. Top.
What is split gate? Coming behind you. Coming behind you on your right.
Last
There.
player standing.
On your left now.
Here.
And now on your right. That you saw it. Go, 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 go.
They're diffusing.
Go, 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 go.
Classic Poppe move.
Kamis, you know what would be super cool? Like, since you are a very, like, knowledge, like, you like to know things. Have you ever tried to, like, learn lineups with Viper?
I know some lineups, but you don't use them.
What are those? So it's our fault. What are
We're not
those?
playing as team.
We're not playing on where? And tell me where do you want to plan? We can get you there.
Forward.
What did you mumble?
Let's go B. Let's go
Okay, let's go full on B.
Oh,
She's on the box.
yeah.
Like. Yeah,
Oh,
she's.
let's in the box top right there.
She might have dropped. Oh no, she's not. Okay. There is. Okay, okay. I'm gonna get the chamber.
Got him. Ah! Omen is right there. Oh!
Oh.
You got
I'm
this, you
red.
got this, you got this.
Toxin screen down.
Okay, what is the lineup coming? Oh, that's it?
Hello.
He's in this room.
Last player
Okay,
standing.
wait, coming. Go. No, no, he doesn't have it. Okay. Like,
Well, this round I did a good arrow, let's say.
Yeah, that was really good actually.
Good
You
arrow.
helped me
Look your
kill
enemy
for real,
in
for
the
real.
eye. It
Zed.
helps with accuracy.
Ank scam is too big? What? Is this tiny? Street Fighter community? Ooh. Ank is improving a lot. Look at that. You wanna go full on A?
As one.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. Do you have your thing?
Let
Go.
me drop.
Wait. Okay. Now you can raise it.
It's like the corner.
Bomb buddy out.
She's top.
Reloading.
I hold heaven. Go.
Okay.
Omen short. Omen short.
Non ci credo. Oh, 143 gli ho fatto quel figlio di
Ok.
puttana.
Okay, let's go.
They're up the wall. One is behind my wall.
Remaining.
Might go heaven.
Do you see him?
No, no, no.
Might be heaven.
There is a.
Oh, he's
Alright,
back.
let's go. Good ulti, Kami.
Thank you.
Who knew that Popper are the nemesis of Ank? Yep. Yep.
Yeah, ma gli ho fatto 143.
143?
Yeah, and you like
Weapon
touched
here.
him and killed him.
Oh.
I was in a like big brain position and all of that, and he just a boom with the checkpo.
Oh my god, it's so good.
Sniperoni.
Let's go B again.
It's all about
Okay.
Poppe.
Embarrass them.
Yeah.
There.
Ah, no, no, no,
Jet
no, no.
is
Jet on mid. Jet is mid. Can you show? Go check.
She's close to the window.
You fought well.
Okay.
Omen is just behind.
Satisfied.
One more on site, behind the site. Nice one. Okay, two people. There is one there. Camille, one in front of you. Okay. Okay. Confirm.
Reloading.
He's there.
Oh shit! 84.
Zero.
What?
C-Link.
Poison orb emitting.
Oh.
He's window.
Go, Kami, go. Shift. Oh, good job. Good job. Take that one. I take that one. Take that.
Match point.
Shit. That was the minima. It's my favorite skin. Sorry.
Oh.
That was my
We can go
favorite.
slow.
It's the ugly skin in the game.
It's
Yeah, I
the
have many.
best skin of the game.
That's so ugly.
It's so nice. It's so neat. When you have it, you can feel. It's like, oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Together.
Can you wall? Yeah.
Like that, yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit, not straight, Kami, not straight. A little bit.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Classic
Revealing
Poppe.
area.
Let's go.
Kami, don't careful.
There are two.
Woo! Oh,
Omen is there.
I got garage.
We're going
He
B.
is mid.
Yeah, I got it.
Defeated.
Nice.
Reload.
One more.
Oh,
One there and one C.
One enemy remaining. Spike down.
oh, let's go. GG.
Attackers win.
Well played. Fuck you, Poppe! Fuck you, you're not controlling my life anymore. Fuck you. Let's go.
That is real life dodge. Listen, if you don't dodge in real life and you don't like turn with your head when turn with your controller when you're playing something with the cards, you're not actually playing. What time is it? It's 4 already. What are you up to?
I'm kind of full of Valorant. for
Full
now.
of Valorant. I was. Okay.
Where?
I was the match MVP.
Nice.
Congrats. And the second one, look at that, so close to you, Poppe, of course.
Poppe!
Poppe doing its thing.
Zajin, thank you so much for the prime. Thank you for the 2 months. Thank you, appreciate you.
I'm working my way up the ladder.
You're improving. Like you're doing like more like you think more about the arrows that you're using for sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, in this case that I knew the map, the arrows were way better. Of course, if I don't know the map, I'm just throwing it behind the corner and then pray God that it makes sense.
What is this clip?
Alright, I have to go.
Okay, Kami, thank you for playing. Me asking you for the skin? Wait. Me asking Ank for the skin? Take it!
What?
Take that one! I take that one! Take that!
What?
Match point.
It's the clip.
Shit. Yeah, it's... Take that one! I take that one! Take that!
What?
Match point.
Tiki, tock. Janko, you're a... Alright, I see that. Oh gosh. What are you doing? Arya and Zeko and Enk. What? Oh, Enk, you said that you were full on Valo.
Valorant probably, yes. I think I'm gonna study. I'm gonna work. I think I'm working on something here. Oh.
Enk, no, Enk, no.
What? Oh shit! I'm still sharing my screen. What a gag!
What a gag! 0 out of 10. Yeah, what a gag!
Hey, what's Twitch, by the way? So
Yeah, so it's okay.
it's not even illegal.
Yeah, not yet.
I'm here.
Comedy.
You can-
Oh, Zeko left?
Yeah, I'm not gonna play Valo.
Okay, are you gonna play LOL?
Yeah.
I knew it! Too easy.
First.
Too easy. Too easy. Are you actually gonna go work, Enk?
No, because I'm still in Feria for one day, for like, yeah, today.
Okay.
But so maybe you are gonna do web development early, or do you wanna play like? What
also-
can we do?
And the chat is demanding a duo Q bot.
I don't know.
You're not in the mood
feel
for
like
LOL?
No, I may be, but but
You know,
are you?
Not really actually. I feel like I am pretty tired from games.
Yeah, that's it. I think we should have like half an hour of riposino.
Riposino.
So then you can have.
Yeah, riposino. We're gonna be studying a little bit of web development, I guess.
You're gonna start early the web development.
Yeah, it was supposed to be at 4.
Oh,
But then
at 5.
I wrote in the title I wrote 5. But then in the
In your brain, you wrote 4.
in the stories on Instagram that you never watch, I wrote 4.
I did. I've actually tagged you
Oh, you did?
in a story. Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So.
Okay, thank you. Yeah,
So.
go. Yeah. Go
Yeah,
do whatever you
I
have
leave
to do.
you to.
It's fine.
Huh?
Go for it.
I leave you to. I'll be probably in chat writing something that you don't like.
Okay, that's thank you.
Thank you for the
Bye,
games. Bye bye Aria.
you,
Bye
Thanks for the
Kobe.
games.
Bye.
Are you also leaving? Are you all leaving?
I mean, whatever you want. Are
Do
you
you
gonna?
wanna have web development with them?
Do you wanna watch? Do you wanna do web development with me? Zico and
no.
Aria? Oh.
No?
Oh, you don't like it?
No, I'm not working that much, you know. Not on holiday.
Not much.
Stronzo. Oh, there's another clip coming. Wait. Oh wait, this. Where is it? Shit. This. Stronzo.
Cogliona. Di spalle.
There is
That
a
was
clip.
a nice moment.
There's a.
There you go. Cogliona. But the fun fact is that I didn't even know it was you. I was just insulting the guy in the game. And then it was you? Was it you? No?
I don't know. Let me check. Stronzo.
So
I don't think so. I don't think that
it's
I've ever
my
been neon.
stream and I'm shooting towards.
No, I think that I was not neither. I was not saying it to you. I think that I was Reina back there. Wait, we can see it.
Cogliona.
I think that I was like. I think that I was Brimstone. No, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, but the timing makes it like we are exchanging sweet.
Yeah, very sweet.
Sweet compliments.
Sweet.
Well, I'm gonna go.
Okay.
Bye, chat. See you Sunday, I guess, and see you in chat. You know, I like to go there and say inappropriate stuff. Big kisses. Bye bye.
Thank you for joining.
Bye bye.
Bye. So, web development with you, Aria and Zeko. Do you wanna watch it with us? Oh, it's fine if you have to go. You can go if you have to go. It's fine.
I'm gonna go. Yeah, we're very busy.
All right. Yeah. I get it. Okay. Thank you for the games.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Dumb. All right. Oh my goodness. Call him back for what? Wait. People, are we ready to do like some web development? If you're new to this channel, I actually like. It's not much about like gaming usually. It's more about like other things. It's not about the bananas. No, it's not about bananas. Let's go. We're not gonna study. You're already in the queue for league. Zeko, give it a second. It's those. Listen, Chad. I can show it to you now. How? Like, look at this. not happening. Not happening. Que kifo. No, I know that it's sweeter, it's better, and all of that, but a baby banana eater. But yes, people, I have an issue actually. In general, I really prefer like to eat like all the fruits when they're not ripe. What's the opposite of ripe? What is the opposite for ripe? Yeah, we'll use it for banana bread or pancakes. Rotten. I love when... Rotten? No, ripe! Rotten is this. This is rotten, right? Ripe is when it's... Right? I'm ripe? You're confusing me. This is rotten. But then it's when it's like green. Let's imagine this one was green. Would it be like ripe? Unripe? Green? Unripe. Okay. I really prefer fruits when they are unripe. So like peaches, for example. I love when they're like they taste like almost like an apple when you crunch it. You know? I don't like it when they get too juicy, too sweet, and too ripe. Or raw. Raw? Like middle ground, I prefer when they're like very... Also the apple, because I really like acid fruits. I like acid foods in general. Yeah, I like it when it's green and very... Not the banana. Banana, when banana is unripe, it's... I just feel it like... I eat lime. You eat lime? Well, that's fine. Eat lime and lemon, so good. Oh, I feel like the only one that I know for now that if it's the only two that I know that as fruits, that if they are too unripe, they're like, ew, it's bananas and guava. I don't know if you know what guava is. You like those onomatopoeia? Oh, there, I have a fan because it's way too warm in here. Kaki? I don't like kaki in general because exactly they're too raw. I don't even know if they have like an English word for kaki. Green bananas taste like paper. Exactly like that. Exactly like that. Hey, whoa! I'm opening web development, by the way. Yeah, Kako, I don't like those. I don't know if you know. Kako Mela. I cannot even Google it. Oh, they exist in English. It's not Kokomero. It's not in Korean. Why is it giving it to me in Korean? What the heck? Fruit in English. Let's see. Persimmon. Persimmon. Shit apple. Shit apple. No, persimmon. Do you know persimmon? By the way, I'm opening web development. If you're new here, if you're new to the channel, we've been following this course on how to become a web developer. It's super basic. Bitty, go for marketing. Languages you can learn about by yourself. Marketing is a little bit like more difficult to get. Persimmon, yeah. Anyway, if you're new to this channel, we're following a course on how to become a web developer. That it's taught by Leon. Taught by Leon, who's a genius, I swear. A genius. Does any of you... Sorry, I was munching. Does any of you know web development? What is cool about this course is like, it's super easy to understand. Even if you are following now the very first class of your life, it's super easy to understand. Crimson, what do you do for a living, if you don't mind me asking? It's super easy to follow. You can just start like right now, and he's gonna always review stuff with us. We're gonna go through the last part of the last class that we had, and you will see that things are easy. And I love how he teaches things, and I find it very useful. Especially like if you're asking why I want to learn this. Oh, that's so cool, Crimson. That's so freaking cool. Like I'm trying to learn web development because I want to implement like the website that we made. So like I did this website, but mostly using the Mechanicarlo. Hi, by mostly using Tailwind. If you're familiar with that, you might most probably know. But I'm missing like very important parts of it. Before starting, what if I show you like a couple of clips so then I can get myself some water, right? I'll check in with oh my god, my brain has rails on there, sorry. I'll be right back. I'm just gonna get some water and maybe some real food, alright? It's gonna be in English, Ufa. It's gonna be, languages, it's gonna be CSS, HTML, and JavaScript. I'll be right back. Been there? Have you ever been to the Seal Gang Nation? Never? You should. It's a cool place. It's a really cool place. I'm doing great, sis. I'm doing great. I'm going to just woke up, ready to start studying. Oh, nice, AC. Nice. Are you a... I'm scared of what that means. Am I a dude? Yes, I'm a dude. I was born as Woka. Jumper! Okay, the Lewis company is right here. Hi, hello. Oh, dzień dobry. I still don't know how to say other stuff in Polish. Soon you will teach me, but hello. Dzień dobry. Lewis, are you streaming your own content? Are you playing a game? Or are you watching someone else? Like me right now. Chat, is he watching someone else only today? Is he watching only YouTube videos? 진짜? Hello. Actually, that clip was like from the stream where I talked to Anka for the very first time. That was it. This is not a clip. Hi, Metal. Hello. Metal Addict, yeah. No, I'm back. I got myself water and I got myself salad. And I'm ready to do some web development. Are you ready? Metal Addict, yeah. The start of a long story. Healthy person, I just had like, it's 4:30. I'm having lunch right now. It's not that healthy. They all be clips eventually? Sure. It's going well, Danielle. How is it going for you? So this one. Metal is fine. Alright, I got you. I actually just realized that I've been playing the entire time without my glasses. Hi, I'm G, and I'm not so smart. Shit. Wait, actually, let me check something. Let me make sure. I already doxed myself enough times to know that I have to close things before starting to stream share. Screen share. Alright, this one, it's okay. Okay. Should be alright. Rising, hi! How is it going, Rising? Okay, We ready? Hi, Vieri. Oh, I started to learn it like in I started to learn it for in school. I was not born by knowing English. Yeah, I should. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna leave you with him for this second while I go get myself the glasses. All right, I'll be right back.
Thoughts on TypeScript? I use it. Different tools, right? Different tools for different jobs. I do like PipClub. Cool. All right, folks, come on back. Come on back. You don't post office hours on YouTube? I don't.
Okay.
So you show up. You can always watch the VODs on YouTube, on Twitch though. They're on there for 60 days. Come on back, folks. Come on back. When's the CSGO server gonna be up? Hopefully soon. We're just working on getting the last touches going. I want to be able to like be done with it and then never have to like, touch it for a while. Cool. All right, folks, get in here. Alrighty.
Yes, Zuleb. Welcome in.
Get tired of us? Nah, that's always fun. All right, come on, folks, get him back in here, and let's keep pushing. All right, talk about the big four, right? We had variables, conditionals, loops, and functions. So far we talked about variables. Now let's talk about the next, which is those conditionals. Right? Okay. Those conditionals are what we're going to use to make decisions. Alrighty. So here we have a value that is either true or false. Right? We have the ability to say, all right, if whatever happens inside of here is true, we will do what happens inside of the curly braces. All right. Now, if what is inside here is not true, we do not do what's inside the curly braces. And so what we have to realize is that if we want to be able to use conditionals and make decisions, we actually have to be able to make comparisons. All right. So to make comparisons, we got to learn how to compare stuff in JavaScript. The idea is to be able to, using these values, right? Using these values, be able to see whether or not something.
Do you use 3 equals in JavaScript? Do you use 3 equals in JavaScript? What? Why? Why? What's wrong with 2? For real? Oh, that equal will convert types. Yes, but only sometimes. What? Because of reason. Shit. Oh my god. Alright.
Is equal to something else, if something is less than something else, if something is greater than something else, right? And the idea here is that we have to figure out all these different ways to do comparison. Alrighty. Here is the first thing that we're comparing. Right here, we're comparing the number 9 to the number 9. So is the number 9 equal to the number 9? Is that true or false?
True.
It's true, right? The number 9 is indeed equal to the number 9, so that is true. Smart. All right, look at the next one. Is the number 7 equal to the number 3?
I guess no.
That is false. The number 7 is not equal to the number 3, so that will give us a false value. But where it gets a little odd with JavaScript is this idea that we can compare a string to another string, right? We can say, all right, is the string hello equal?
As we saw also in Python, right? As we saw in Python.
To the string hello, right? And in JavaScript, that's actually true. The one string is equal to the other string, right? So they're both true here. So what we want to start doing is take a little bit deeper look in how we make these comparisons, how we figure out these equalities and move through it. All right, so here I have done something very specific. What have I done right here? What is...
Here I gave to the variable x the value 3.
Is this right here?
Right?
Yeah, I've done an assignment.
An
right?
assignment. Oh, that's how you call it.
No
Assignment. Yeah.
Right? So
I will never remember theory.
Step that said like let x, right? That was just strictly assignment, right? And what we're
9 equal string of 9 is false, all right? But 9 equal, the string of 9 is true. What?
we're noticing
JavaScript is
is
so
that I
wrong.
used one equal sign for that assignment, right? I used one equal sign for that assignment.
What
we're
the
going to
fuck?
notice is when it comes to comparison, we're going to use 2 or 3 equal signs, not 1. So it's something that we actually have to be very careful about. If we ever just use 1 equal sign, we're doing assignment again. But 2 or 3 equal signs is how we do comparison. All right. So wherever we see X here, we know X is what?
Wait. It's not that bad, actually. It's not that bad. Actually, it's not that bad. I already did, didn't I, Jofford? I should have already that tag. JavaScript, I should have already. Right, it actually makes, it's not that too bad. So like, you know that it's gonna be the same exact type. It's fine.
We
like,
see X,
okay.
X is what in this case?
But how does
X
it?
is 3. Nice.
X is
So,
weird though.
when we look at this, we're saying is 3 equal to the number 8? So is number 3 equal to the number 8? But when you see 2 equal signs, it's just the value, right?
Okay.
Just the value.
So like
is
whatever
number
it is,
3
even if it's like
equal
a
to the number
string,
8
if
in
it's like
value?
what?
No, they are not equal in value, so we get false. But where JavaScript gets a little tricky is when we look at this next line. X is equal to number 3. So does number 3, answer the first question first here, does number 3 equal string 3 in value? In value. Does number 3 equal string 3 in value? The answer to that question is yes. They are the same in value. 3 is 3. However, when we have 3 equal signs, we're not just looking for value, we're also looking for type. 1 in this case is a number.
Louis, because I want to improve, I want to work on my website, and I want to do it by myself. So what is that, Celebri? I don't see the character that you wrote. Post equals 0. This is a pain. It's right here, Meta. The difference is here. Like, so 2 equals means like it's just equal as like the value, and if it's 3 of them, it's like the value and the type are the same.
This is number 3. This over here, however, is what? What is that one over there?
Of course, Louis.
Yeah, it's string 3. It's string 3, exactly. 1 is a number and 1 is a string. And when you have 3 equal signs, you're saying, I want to compare stuff not only on value, but I also want to compare stuff on type. So in this case, it passes the first check. They are the same in value, but they are not the same in type, so we would get false. However, when we come down to this last one here, we get to compare, does number 3 equal number 3 in value, chat? Does number 3 equal number 3 in value? Yes. And does number 3 equal number 3 in type?
No.
Yeah, they're both numbers.
Oh,
so
yeah,
that would be true, right? So we have to remember in JavaScript, 1 equal sign has nothing to do with comparison. It's just assignment. 2 equal signs, we're looking at value. 3 equal signs, we're looking at value and type.
Hi, Mantex.
All right, we got a bunch of other ones down
Hello.
here. And these scare a lot of people. So we're just not going to do them tonight. We'll come back to them maybe next class or sometime next week. So we're going to skip those for now. We'll come back to those because that's where people just close the computer and run away. So we'll save those for another day. All right, remember, the whole reason we cared about these like conditional statements, right? These idea of something is equal to or eventually greater than and less than, right? Is because we want to be able to do stuff based on certain things being true. We want to be able to make decisions using conditionals. Remember, we said the big 4: variables, conditionals, loops, and functions. This is the basis of conditionals and how we make decisions. And they actually just follow one really important rule. If whatever is inside the parentheses is true, we do what happens inside the curly braces. That's it. So if what is inside the parentheses is true, we wind up doing what is inside of the curly braces.
Easy.
Hey, thank you for the hydration. Cheers to you. All right, so let's take a look at this.
So this is like same as the other, like as in Python, right?
Here we go. There
Not
are actually
that
3
different.
different steps that you can have when
else
using
if.
conditional syntax.
Okay.
If you use an if, and this condition
reminds
is
me
true,
of
you do
R
it inside the curly braces and then you stop.
for
That's it.
the
You're done.
how it is written
As soon as you
here,
hit something
doesn't
that's
it?
true, you stop.
Isn't
you don't
R a
move
little
on
bit
to
like
any
this?
other values, right? However, if this condition was not true, right? If it was not true, we would move on to the else if and check to see if this was true, right? So if this was false, we move on to the else if. And the cool thing is you can actually have as many else ifs as you want. So you could have an if and then an else if and 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 else if, and you're just checking more and more stuff, right?
Yeah.
But let's say the if was false, the else if was false, the else would automatically run, right? It would automatically
There's
run,
no condition.
automatically run, right? It doesn't need a condition. It just runs if everything else above it was false. See a lot of people hitting bingo right now. I got you. I knew.
I forgot to tell you something, Chad. I hope Okay, listen. Yeah, I'm gonna finish. Sorry, I chewed. I chewed. Okay. So yesterday I went to see the apartment. Yesterday I went to see the apartment that I would love to get. It's a little bit over my budget, but then I checked back, like it's just too good. It's just too good of an apartment. It's not like amazing, but for the price that it has, it's just perfect. Like this, at the same price in Verona, you get holes with grates on your window, and it's really beautiful. But it's not all done, because I told them, like, oh, yes, count me in, because I have some money on this, like, that I saved. So all right, I'm just gonna spend a little bit more. It's fine. But they say that they have other people that are going. Sorry for screaming. Sorry, you're right. I have the microphone way too close to me. Sorry. But they said that they're gonna have to check on other people. Like, other people are gonna go check the apartment, and then the real estate guy is gonna decide who he likes the most among all of those people that he's gonna see, and then he's gonna take this person in front of the owners of the apartment and just show these, like, 2 or 3 people, and the owners will choose who they want inside their apartment. So, you know most of them? You know, what do you mean you know most of them, Metal? But like, so like he said that he should be calling me this afternoon about it, because he's gonna finish all the things, all the appointments, and then when he's done, he's gonna call the people. Yeah, it's like a pigeon. Oh my god, I'm so freaking stressed, I swear. I still have other apartments that I'm gonna go see, but we still have this one. And so if you see me, like, muting myself out of random and the video keeps going, you know what is going on, all right? Just wanted to tell you, give you the heads up for that.
It was happening.
Sorry.
All right, so keep that in mind. You can have an if, as many else ifs as you want, and then just one else. And you don't need to have an else. It's just if everything else was false, the else will just automatically run, right? It doesn't need to check anything. It just runs. So it's typically used for, like, a default. All right.
Mochi, we just started the web development one.
So let's look at this in action. All right, we're going to declare a variable, const pizza equals Domino's. All right, const pizza equals Domino's, because we're declaring a variable called Domino's. Now, pizza called Domino's, that's set equal to Domino's, right? That is assigned the value of Domino's. Now, why did I use this keyword here called const? Anybody that did the homework know why I called this const pizza, not let pizza? Because const or constant.
Metal, yes. Metal. But I think that is a way too much of a big, of a small agency. I think they're way too small. Metal. Carry me, please carry me. I need an appointment anyway.
It don't change. It'll never change. It will always be Domino's. It's not changing to anything else. It will never be reassigned. It can't be reassigned. When you have a const, that keyword that's declaring a variable, but you said it's a const, it can't be reassigned, right? So just like pizza will always be Domino's, it can't be reassigned, right? So if you're going to declare a variable, you can use let for stuff that will change, or const for stuff that will never change, like pizza being equal to Domino's.
Okay.
All right.
Wait. So, mental note. Let means that you're defining something, like in Python, that you can change in the future. If you save it as const, it's never gonna change. All right.
We have our const of pizza equaling Domino's. So let's check out our first if here. Does pizza equal Papa John's?
No, why you? It's type? Super easy. If you wanna follow with us, you just go on YouTube and you watch him. J-Chick.
fear when no stuttering or stumbling. I can always hear him sort of muttering and mumbling. I associate him with the sound of falling sand.
Chijik, thank you so much for the 2 months. I really appreciate you for it. I really, really do. I know you're hardly ever here, but I really appreciate you for like being here now.
2 months, even if I'm hardly ever here, less than 3.
Yeah, like see, I'm sorry, but he really, really likes Domino's pizza. Yes, it is, Macarena. It is. Okay. Oh, I was saying, if you want to follow with us, you can just go on like.
I'm going to get a brain transplant, but I changed my mind.
Anyway, you can go check this website, like his YouTube videos, and you can just catch up with us. It's easy. It's from level 0.
So if
level
the if
0
is not true, we move on to the else if, right? We move on to the else if. So here we're looking at the else if and we say, hey, does pizza equal Domino's in value and type?
Yeah.
That is true, right? We can see that pizza does indeed equal Domino's in value and type. So print it to the console would be all aboard the train to Flavortown. The console is this thing right here. Right, this is the console. We would see something be printed here that says all aboard the train to Flavortown.
Oh, you cannot change the type,
right?
But you can change the value. Oh, cool. Right, I didn't know. Okay.
What if we didn't know how to spell Domino's, right? What if we spelled Domino's with an E? We're new around these parts. We spelled it with an E. What would happen? What would eventually wind up being printed to the console?
What are you even doing with your life?
What would be printed to the console? It would be, what are you even doing with your life? Exactly. That is what would be printed to the console because, right? If there was an E here,
I know,
pizza would not equal Papa John's, so if would be not true, we move on to the else if. In this case, pizza would not equal to Domino's because we spelled it wrong, right? So then we go to the else. Did the else need to check anything to run? Did the else need to check anything to run? No.
You messed it up, Mochi. It's not like that. Almost, but yeah. Failed in Italy, Pixel. Mochi, thank you so much for the 2 months with the Prime. I appreciate you for being here. Thank you for helping us with the web development, by the way.
Pizza would not be equal to Domino's because we spelled it wrong, right? So then we go to the else. Did the else need to check anything to run?
No waterfall. You forgot the waterfall club.
Did the else need to check anything to run? No. It just ran, and we print it to the console. What are you even doing with your life? Cool. So this is the idea of you can have ifs, as many else's as you want, and then else's. We're going to see a lot of this in action. We're going to get a lot of hands-on keyboard time with this stuff. So we'll see a lot of this in the next coming weeks. All right.
Proud of you.
What is the danger between assignment and comparison? Why do I throw that up here with like big red alerts? What is the danger between assignment and comparison?
Maybe you wanna just do a comparison, but by mistake you assign a value.
If we accidentally used 1 equal sign instead of 2 or 3, we're gonna run into a very specific error. Let's actually copy this code from here, and I'm gonna put it into my console. Let's go ahead and copy it. And so I'm just gonna paste it into my console, and I'm gonna hit enter. So we can see that it printed to the console, all aboard the train to Flavortown, right?
Yeah.
All aboard the train to Flavortown. But let's run it again. Let's run it again. But instead of doing 3 equal signs here, let's do 1. Right? Let's do 1. And
there, then it's not gonna work. Like,
what? Assignment to a constant variable. Somebody tried to change Domino's to Papa John. Like, what were they thinking? Right?
Oh,
what
you
happened
see?
Here? Yeah. Right here, when there's 1 equal sign, what just tried to happen? When there's 1 equal sign, what just happened there?
You can change
it's 1
the type.
equal sign,
If the type
it
is
tried
string or
to
integer.
reassign.
You can only change
right?
data in
It tried to
arrays.
reassign. It tried to set.
What is the logic? Well, we're gonna see. We're gonna see. I guess.
Pizza to Papa John's.
Okay, we're gonna
but
see.
Const said, hell no.
Oh, shit.
Pizza is constant. It will always be Domino's. You can't change it to anything else, right? That reassignment did not come through. This is a Domino's household.
So many 2 months today.
Good to live in fear when no stuttering or stumbling. I can always hear him sort of muttering and mumbling. I associate him with the sound of falling sand.
Samir, thank you so much for the 2 months. I really appreciate you. I really, really do. JS didn't ask what is logic. Is it that bad?
This month I couldn't be one single day with you, but
That's
having
fine.
this sub is now mandatory for me.
No, it's not mandatory. Samir, I super duper appreciate you for it. It's not mandatory. Thank you so much for the support. I genuinely appreciate you for it. We're missing you though.
This is a Domino's boot camp, and they got.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Right? So we got to be careful. If you ever do this 1 equal sign, what you're going to wind up doing is not comparison, right? It's not going to be comparison. It's going to be reassignment. So be careful. Don't get got. When you're doing comparison, you need 2 or 3 equal signs, not 1. 1 is assignment.
For real?
Mozilla, thank you. All right. the cool thing is we can actually put multiple conditions in our conditional logic, right? So if we, where'd my pencil go? If we want to check for two things at the same time, we can check. So if name equals
How is that
Bruce
possible?
and your parents are dead, then we can turn off the bat signal because Batman is here. Right?
Ah, I know why. No, I don't know why.
That's both. Both have to be true. And if both are true, we can turn off the bat signal because Batman is there. So double ampersand is and. Both sides have to be true, right? The left-hand side has to be true and the right-hand.
What's wrong with them with the double things? Like, and it could one E could not be enough, so you put two.
Side has to be true. We can also have or, right?
Also or, two ors.
Be outside, huh? All right. We can have or, right? Or means that just one of them has to be true. So if day equals Saturday, or, right? Or day equals Sunday, then we know that it's the weekend, right?
And
only
is another
one has to be true. So we're gonna start to see our conditional logic get a little bit more complex. We can do just.
Why are we still using JavaScript if it sucks? Why are we still using JavaScript if it still has all of these problems? TypeScript, right? I think that I use TypeScript. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why is it used for all web? Why is it running the web? We need a new web, yes.
Straight up, right? Just got straight up one value that we're looking for, right? One value that we're looking for, or we can look for both values. We can look for either or values. And so these conditions can get a little bit more complicated over time. All right. So to kind of demonstrate this, and this will be our, I think this will be our last example for tonight. And then we'll kind of lay out what the next week will look like. Okay. And what I want to start off with is this example here called class, weekend, or boring day. Right? Class, weekend, or boring day. So what's that? Is JavaScript backend? JavaScript can run on the backend and the front end. What we're looking at right now is front end or client side JavaScript. Yeah. All right. So we're gonna open up class, weekend, or boring day. So our starter code.
Computer science.
If you're new around here, you need the starter code. You can do exclamation point Discord. We're on Discord. Agree to the rules, and you'll see all the starter code in our follow along materials channel. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up the class, weekend, or boring day. All right. So here we have, if we look, a form. Right? We have a form.
What
and that
even
form
is
says
NPM?
Day of the week for the label.
Like I use,
we have an input.
Okay, I use NPM to run things when, like for example, for the website. I did the website and they told me that I have to do npm run dev. I did it. I have no the package manager. All right, there are so many things. That's why I'm taking this class, because like there's so many things that I'm doing because that's what they told me that I have to do, but I don't know why. You know.
For the day of the week, right? It has the ID of day, but it's a place for us to put the day of the week. We have a button that we can eventually click that'll help us check to see if the day of the week equals something. And then we have an ID called place to see. So the idea here is if we open this in the browser, make it a little bit bigger. What I want to be able to do is put in a day of the week, right? Put in a day of the week. I want to be able to click the button, and I want to see if it's class, right? I want to see if it's class, the weekend, or boring, right? Is it a class day, a weekend, or a boring day, right? So if we look and we have this button that we're going to click called check, what do we know that we need? What do we know we need? If we're just looking at this, what do we know we need?
We need the blue thing! A Smurf! Yes, a Smurf! We need a Smurf!
Exactly. We need an event listener that's going to listen. That's going to listen for that click. Now, what else do we need this program to do? What do we...
Black magic, yes. To everyone who was here the last time that we did it and they were like, that's so stupid to remember about Smurf. Now I remember Smurf instead of like
this
events
program
listener.
to do. It's going to listen for the click, but then what are the instructions that it's going to do? Yeah. It's going to need to do a couple of things. It's going to need to be able to get the value out of the input, right? We need some way of getting the value out of the input. Once we have that value that was in the input, we need to figure out, we need to do some comparison, some conditional logic. Exactly. See so many people saying comparison. We need to do some conditional logic, some comparison. We need to see if the day equals Tuesday or Thursday, because then we'll be in class. We need to see if the day equals Saturday or Sunday, because that would be a weekend. And if it's not a Tuesday or Thursday, or a Saturday or Sunday, we need to just say boring, right? And make it sure it says boring. All right.
Okay.
So what we just talked through right there is something we call pseudocode. I didn't really use any like technical jargon, maybe other than like event listener, right? But what we just did is we just talked out loud about what our program is going to do. We call this pseudocode. Whenever I start to write a program, the first thing I do is I talk through my pseudocode. Yeah,
Well,
it's like a story about the
that's what
program.
Ank
Exactly,
always
right?
told me to
It's like a
do.
story about what I'm about to do. And often I'll sit here and I'll talk to Bob, right? Or I'll talk.
You're right, Crimson. You're right. But when I started doing the website, I didn't have much time. So I started straight away with Node, React, Tailwind, all of these things. And so still I don't know what things do. That's why I'm here to like relearn.
To my rubber duck, right? And I will talk through what I want my code to do in just plain English. We call this pseudocode. So eventually, next week, we're gonna spend a lot of time with pseudocode. You're gonna write out in plain language the steps that you want your code to take, right? So that you can then fill in with the actual JavaScript. And early on in your JavaScript career, you'll write pseudocode and then spend a hell of a lot of time Googling, Stack Overflowing, trying to figure out like what the actual syntax is to solve the challenge that you have. So it's not that you have to have like all this stuff in your brain. You write out your pseudocode and then you can look up how to do that thing through your research, right? And the beautiful thing is if you get good at pseudocode, right? So people are like, how do you spell that? Let me pull it up real quick for you. Pseudocode. The cool thing is if you get good at pseudocode, right? You can program in any language, right? We're learning JavaScript, but the skills are transferable. Most languages are going to have variables, conditionals, functions, and loops. You might call them slightly different things, but they're going to have all that same stuff.
That's why very good
and if you get good at writing
coders,
pseudocode
they actually
and figuring
can
out how to fill in the syntax
takes 2
based off of your
seconds to learn another
pseudocode, you can
language.
code in any language. So it's a really powerful skill. And the biggest skill that I want you to have
What
as
is
we start going
Chef?
through the next couple of weeks, and we're going to spend a lot of time on. Cool. But let's jump back to our code here. All right. So we kind of talked through what's happening in the HTML. We know there's a form where we need to get stuff out of this input that has the ID of day. We know we have a button that we need to put a smurf on, so we can hear the click. And we know we want to eventually put the result, like probably in this H2 or something. Cool. So here we go. I have some pre-written logic here. I have my smurf.
I'm opening my
I
Visual
have
Studio
the
Code.
ability to get the
Sorry.
value out of the input. This is how you get the value of the input. The input had the ID of day. I can get the value out of it. So whatever was put into that input, I can get the value out. What I want you to do is I want you to take 5 minutes and I want you to write some code. Look at the conditionals we had in the slides, exclamation point slides. And I want you to say whether it is a class day, a
class weekend, boring. Oh, okay, select folder. No, I should have, no, I should have opened the entire folder, the new window, sorry. If you're looking for this material to follow along, you can go on Discord. Really, Crimson, that sounds, I hope that was created as a meme, as a meme, or like meme. If you want to follow along in Discord, in the announcements, there is an entire folder of the homeworks that he gave us. But anyway.
Boring day. Sorry, class day, a weekend, or a boring. Whether it is, write some code. Look at the conditionals we had in the slides, exclamation point slides. Yeah. And I want you to say whether it is a class day, a boring day. Sorry, a class day, a weekend, or a boring day. All right. Put 5 minutes on the clock. And you're going to try getting this done.
All right.
Music on for you. Dig deep. You got this. Get some practice. Look at the slides. Use your Googling.
Oh!
You got this. Oh,
sorry, I'm trying to delete the code without getting spoilers. Okay. I should have deleted everything. Yeah, I deleted everything. Sorry, I had spoilers in there. I don't know why. I think that I downloaded the wrong one. I'm not sure. Oh, yes, I downloaded the 13, so all these things should be, like, answered. Oh, shit. Sorry. Anyway. Let's do this code.
Jeez, the slow jazz.
Okay. Okay. So we want to do the if, day. Oh, we have to put these ones. Day equal.
I'm not too excited. Thank you for the hydration. Cheers to you.
I don't know what are the days of class. What are the days of class that we have? So if equal Monday. Oh, we can put or when we have the study with me things, let's do Tuesday or I'm too tired to do all of them, so Wednesday. These
minding after class sessions these days.
We're gonna.
I haven't been. I've been working. People saw me. I had
right? If blah blah blah.
1 o'clock in the morning. I've been grinding.
Do this.
I'll work to get this stuff done.
Print. Do we have print?
Repeat the assignment. It's to make this work. You're gonna
It's
write your
console
conditionals,
print,
see if
right?
it's a
Is it
class
like
day, a weekend,
console?
or a boring day. I get my sleep.
No, what was it? Console.
What do you do with the time that you have? Wait.
The print? Log. Oh my god.
3 minutes left. Oh.
Log. All right, and here we write down. It's class time.
You got this. Dig deep.
Otherwise,
Inner text and HTML. One just puts text.
else
One can put
if
a full bit of HTML.
what are the other
Or a
options?
section or a paragraph. Yeah.
Oh,
You have a full-time job on top of teaching? Yeah, I teach
an
during the
answer
day
for
too.
half day.
I
Wait,
run
wait.
help run another
I
boot
don't
camp during the
remember
day.
what are the other things. I don't.
boot camp.
Let's put something else.
Okay, so
If
what's the difference between Java and
they
Java.js?
equal
They're two
equal
different, completely different
Friday
languages.
like today,
We're gonna
it's
talk a lot
Valid
about that.
Day.
The people that wrote JavaScript were like, hey, what's a popular language? Oh, Java's popular. Let's call ours JavaScript.
Wait. Valid Day. But I need it to be in console log, right?
I'm lost. You can't be lost. We're not here to do anything today. We're here just to be sponges.
Like,
right? All this stuff.
no, not leg. Log, thank you. And this one have to be okay.
TypeScript. You can think of like TypeScript as JavaScript.
But I like it to be
the
more
right
like
way. With extra bits
tidy.
and bobs that make it a little bit easier
Otherwise,
to be maintainable and write cleaner.
this one, right? Console log.
We learn OPP. Yeah, we learn OOP.
I don't even know. Should be right. Console the leg.
Should we learn TypeScript along JavaScript?
But I didn't very
Learn
well.
JavaScript, and then if you want to pick up TypeScript.
Full
you
sale. I don't know what full sale is.
30 seconds. Oops.
Should be alright.
I prefer functional or OOP. I think my brain just works better in OOP. I mean, I write a lot of functional code, but I think my brain just thinks better. Object oriented.
Oh. I'm having the call. Wait. Shit. What's up? How is it going? What are you talking about? What's going? What? No, it was not that. It was not that one. It was not that agency. It was another agency. It was another agency. They were telling me about another apartment that they have. But it's fine. Not yet. Not yet. It was a false alarm. False alarm. False alarm, chat. Not yet. Not yet. Dial down the excitement. It's okay. It's okay. I got very, very stressed, but it's all right. It's apparently it was not. It's not it. It's another apartment who is less pretty, cost way more, and it's also smaller. And they were like, I'm not gonna lie to you, I have way too many more people, and they have like a full-time employment. So I'm not really sure if I'm gonna. All right, it's fine. I don't care. I was like just thinking about like I don't care about your apartment. You just. What if they call me now that I'm on the phone with you? Shit. That's it. I don't know yet. I'm finding something. Okay, real estate was a girl for sure. But because I did the voice metal, just because I did the voice. Oh my god. Okay. We'll see. Let's continue with the. Let's see if we did it right.
Come on back.
Should I tell them that I have a friend that is from Pinerolo that has a PhD? Sure. I got so stressed. Oh,
Come on back. Let's do this thing.
The way I act, shit.
All right. Chill the music here. All right, so we already have it set up with our Smurf, right? We already have our Smurf set up. We have the ability to pull the value out of the input, right? Then we just need our conditional logic. So let's just go ahead and put a conditional that we've seen already. We saw with the dominoes example, we saw an if, an else if, right? And then an else. So let's just use that for here. Now, we're
so
going
you
to
have
check
100
at first
friends
to
with
see
PhDs
if
for sure around
day
you.
equals
Yeah.
what? Day equals what? Thank you, Sonia.
Yeah, we did it like that, right?
If day equals what? Yeah, we're going to see if day equals Tuesday.
Yeah, we didn't.
Or, and how do I say or? How do I say or?
No! Wait.
Yeah, there we go. Double pipe character or day equals
Visual Studio Code. Why
Thursday.
you're not answering to my commands?
Cool.
Visual Studio Code.
And if day equals Tuesday or
Alright.
Thursday, we could put it into the DOM, but there's a way to put it into the DOM.
only
I'm gonna let
Is
you
that
figure out how to put it in the
bad?
DOM. I'm just gonna use an alert for now. I want you to
Wait, what happens if I put only 2? What happened? Grazie anywhere, honestly, anywhere. Is that okay? Because like, because of its input, it's gonna give back like a string, right? Where usually Leon let this resource or code of class. I'm watching it live and I can find the code. Usually it's in his Discord. In his Discord, but if you're watching it with me, you find it in my announcements. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, it's fine. In this case, should be alright.
as part of your homework, like put it into the DOM so the user can see it. So I'm gonna say class day, right? I'm gonna say class day is an alert. Alert will just be like a pop-up,
Alert.
right? I want you to put it into the DOM.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. It's not gonna be a console log. It's gonna go as a alert. Oh no. Okay. Let me change also this one as an alert and this one as an alert. Okay.
So if it's not Tuesday or Thursday, what's the next thing we want to?
I will never use it. Okay. Let me just. I have to get used to this one, I guess. Let me just. Oh. Okay.
Check. What's the next thing we want to check?
If it's another day, I don't know what other.
Hey, we want to check for the weekend, so we'll say.
Yeah.
Click check. Boom, we got class day.
Oh, like that.
Nice.
Okay.
Let's try
Let's
Saturday.
see if it gets the same thing for us. Yeah. Jin, yes. Ignore that announcement, please. Ignore that announcement. Sorry. Sorry. No, listen. It was from way like a long time ago. That alert is from long time ago. I posted like a story, like a it's relevant sometimes. It's just because like I posted like a reel back then, like 2 or 3 months ago, and people started like going like, "Oh my god, boobs!" in my comments. So I had to make a big announcements for everyone saying that I have boobs. Anyway, let's open our code. Shit, sorry. Check. I don't even know. Oh, this was. Oh yeah. Okay. It's Monday. Oh, wait. What? Monday. Check. I don't. Wait. What? Oh, because it was not with the. It's class time. All right. And if I put, what was it? Friday. Check. It's Valo Day. All right. Cool. We're doing amazing.
Saturday. Boom, we got the weekend.
Sorry.
And let's try
Sorry.
Monday.
Sorry for the announcement.
All right, beautiful. We got boring in the pop-up.
It has to be
so
done.
it's working. Oh, if there's like one problem that you're probably going to run into with the way we have this coded right now.
Oh, the capital letters.
Yeah, the case sensitive.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a pain.
Right? Case sensitive. Exactly. So if we were to come back and we were to do this, we get boring. What? It says Tuesday, but we get boring, right? We still get boring when we type in Tuesday with a lowercase t, because we look at our code, it's saying this day equal t, capitalized T, right? And so we have to make sure that our day value, right? Our day value matches exactly the string, or it won't be a match. It is case sensitive. So part of your homework is to figure out how to make sure that this is not case sensitive, right? So part of your homework is to
Let's do it now, chat. Let's do it now. What is the... Is it capitalized? Is it not? Okay, let's search on the internet. Let's use the power of Google. Guest. How to capitalize a word in JavaScript. To uppercase? To uppercase. Okay, thank you. So we put this one into uppercase, right? Oh, shit. We don't need that. This one, right? Let's see if it works. Saving. Oh, we don't need... Oh, wait. Where are you? It was here. Monday? No. Monday? Oh. Monday? Nope. Oh, it's not Python. All right. Shit. Why are they so different from each other? Why is this not working? Wait, maybe I have to refresh? The copy paste was not legal? Mutability? This? Why Monday? Oh, you see, the uppercase makes everything. No, I already refreshed. Uppercase puts everything. Uppercase. We don't want it to be like that. I want it to be only the very first. I want it to be only the very first. Only the first letter. Oh, we can do lowercase. Fair enough. Ignore this, please. There is no? There is none like that? There is no function in JavaScript that makes Only the first letter capitalized. What? Capitalized, what is this? This complicated, like... There isn't Python. What? That's so dumb. S-class time. That's so dumb. That is so freaking dumb.
Make sure that you can make this not be case sensitive. Aria DNV, hey, thank you for the hydration. Cheers to you.
Yeah.
So due Tuesday, a class day, I want you to have this working where it will work with lowercase, capitalized, right? So it doesn't matter. The cases don't matter. And
it's normal.
I want you to show it in the DOM. Like I want to see the result on the page, right? If we look, there is a place for you to put, if it's class day, weekend, or boring day, I want you to put it in there. So that's part of the homework. Make sure that it works with all the casing, and then make sure you put it in the actual DOM. Cool. All right, we are going to save the Angry Parent Simulator and our temperature converter until next class. So we'll save those for next class, and let's talk about the homework. So
let's see.
Next class, we're going to go deeper into JavaScript, right? We're going to go deeper into JavaScript.
We did it. Okay, let's go for the next class. Oh shit. Oh shit, it's going hard on that. It's going for it.
Yeah.
Let's move on. You know that he always like chit chat.
Do what we tell it to do. Now, a program is simply a set of instructions that you write to tell a computer what to do, right? So last class, we all wrote programs.
For what? For the homeworks? Or for the intro? Like, to be honest, people, if I have to be completely honest, I don't know why. I know why, actually. I'm a bit tired. I'm a bit tired. I think that Valorant kind of tired me a little. I'm not too much in the mood to continue to do another class. How are you feeling? How are you feeling about it? How are you feeling about continuing with the web dev? We can have maybe one chilled day, and you know that on Sunday we start with a new class. On Sunday we start with the entire new class. If that's like Sunday, we start with all of this. It is gonna be all about like JavaScript. Should be okay. I'm sorry if today is gonna be like a short stream. Usually on Friday I go for longer ones. I know that on Friday usually we go for long one. Oh, that's it. That's how you do it, Daniel. Not a good thought. Play Valorant before. It should actually be okay, but I don't know. I pushed on Wednesday. Fair enough. Yeah, it's an entire pain to do the only one letter capitalized. I should play after studying. Yeah, that's actually very smart. Very, very smart. People, is that okay if I end the stream here today? I'm sorry if it's just a short one. I'm really, really sorry if it's just a teeny tiny stream for today. But I'll be back on Sunday. On Sunday we are gonna go for around 3 p.m. We will start with doing web development. Web development at 3 p.m. And then we have at 5 p.m. we have Python with Ank. 5 or 6 p.m. with Ank. Is that okay? Tomorrow I will let you know about the house. I'm waiting for it. Alright? I'll let you know about the house call. I will let you know on Sunday, okay? I'm going to the stadium on Sunday. Oh, shit! I'm going to the stadium on Sunday. I forgot. I have to leave like at... So, wait. Okay, so listen to me. We're going to be doing web development at 2 p.m. And then we go for Python at 4 for 1 hour and a half only. And then we... why no stream on Sunday? No, we stream on Sunday. So 2 p.m. we have... we start web development. Then at 4 we have Ank. I'm gonna push him to get there like early. Or if it's not gonna be there early, I will have to ask him to skip it. No, I thought I didn't see the question mark coming. Sorry. And yeah, thank you for reminding me. Actually, thank you for reminding me. The match is at 6:30. exactly. So I will have to leave here like at 5:30 or something, because if I get there too late, then I cannot find parking for the car. Actually, I know a good place where to park. I should tell my dad, because he wants to park to a place that it's gonna be the game. Like I don't go too often to the stadium, but I really like to go there like in 3 hours before the game. But Chad, I will have. Okay, you know that I signed with an agency. They got me the VIP tickets. It's gonna be like in a lounge, in a cool spot, and apparently there's gonna be things to eat, which is the most important thing for me. Things to eat and drink. Oh my god, I'm super excited for that. It's gonna be super fancy. I'm gonna do a lot of stories, I think. I'm gonna do a lot of stories on Instagram. So, what a better time to like just follow me on Instagram. Oh, Laurent Sims, welcome in. Long time no see you. Oh, hi. I appreciate you for that. Will there be bananas to eat? I don't think so. Crimson, thank you so much again for the 10 gifted. I appreciate you. What the heck, man. For real. But so, I'll see you on Instagram before Sunday. And on Sunday, I'll see you here for coding and doing everything. And on Monday, we go back for like co-working together. If you need a place where to work with someone, that's where it will be. I'm sending you to a friend of mine. She's doing a pillow talk badge stream. I have no idea what she's doing, but I super duper appreciate you for being here. Like honestly, as I said it before, I did not think that so many people would be joining when I'm like gaming. I didn't think people would be interested in this, but I'm super happy that you're liking me gaming. That has been cute. I really appreciate you for being here today. I genuinely mean it. I know, Ashkelon, but when I tried, it was not that love. But I never think. All right, sorry. Viva, I really appreciate you so much. I really do. Have a beautiful weekend. Have a lovely weekend. Take care of yourself, please, as much as you can. Text me on everywhere if you ever need help. If you need an accountability buddy, I'll try my best to be there, even though I suck with being social. But I love you so much. Have a nice and beautiful day. Have a beautiful. If you have nothing to watch tonight, maybe you can watch my new YouTube video. That would be lovely. I appreciate you. Have a nice rest of the day and a nice weekend. Bye everyone. Sorry. Have a nice weekend, people. Bye. Bye.